Jama, I'm very sorry.
But thank you.
But you're here? And we're looking...
Day what today?
Yeah.
Day 1 of 8. Okay, so...
Today is day 1 of 8. Ana tunaanzanga wapi? Like
it's
yesterday.
Day 1 of 8.
The day the Lord rested is the first day of the week. Asasa leo ni day 2 of 8.
Learn day 2 of 8.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because the Lord rested. Okay, sawa. Learn day 2
Hapa
of 8.
katikati tutajua mali tutafika 8.
Yeah.
But it's 8. Sawa.
Day 2 of 8. It's good to be here.
Indeed it is. Good morning, Evelyn. Abba, she has put one hand in the air. One hand in the air. Yeah. Everybody's fine. Joyline is also fine. She's been swinging like a fairy from the rooftops this morning. You can ask her how her weekend was. But for all intents and from all indications, it was a good weekend. And we're getting into it this morning. What is it? It is Monday. So we're going to have a couple of conversations today, and we're coming off of an interesting weekend, and the headlines are already looking interesting because that weekend was quite something, wasn't it?
Yes.
World Cup fever continues, World Cup mania, and we're down to 32 for sure. A couple of nations, as a result of their matches yesterday, got bundled out of the World Cup, and many people are doing many things, from the likes of Messi for Argentina and Kylian Mbappe and Dembele for France. Evelyn, nimekuacha wapi? Uko kwa bridge. Yes. Football is it's something you need to get into. True. So it's going to be an interesting next round as we get into it, and we'll see in another couple of weeks who will lift the cup. You can catch up with the boys on KTN at 2 o'clock as they bring you KTN World Cup 2026. Beria, Okenye, Asan Juma. Bringing you all the World Cup action in terms of all the preparation and all what this actually means, all the highlights and stuff. So you want to catch up with them at 2 on KTN. Sawa sawa. A very good morning to everybody, and karibu sana. This is the Situation Room. Dennis told Aseto, feeling a lot better this morning. So we're going to get into it today. Nduh, and we say karibu sana. Thank you for being here in the room with us, and let's turn these wheels as we get into the conversations that are necessary for us to have every day. What we'll be talking about today, I'll let you into it just a little bit. Our conversations, of course, started about 7 o'clock, and we'll get into a conversation today at 7 as what we've been doing. The state of democracy. Samuel Pogisho, remember him? He's a former Senate Majority Leader and ICT Minister. He joins us in the province of Kipruto Arab Kirwa, who's a former minister as well. We'll be looking into the state of democracy, shutdown politics and accountability. What does this exactly all mean? And does it have any bearing on what's going to come in the future? The next test, or the next thing that we're going to see, is the by-election that's going to take place in Okoh in about 16 days. Yeah, because it's on the 16th, so we're looking about 16 days from now, 17 days from now. And that probably will put people in a bit of a tailspin in terms of what it actually means moving forward. So we'll talk about this and all other things. While you were asleep, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba decided that under the power of his father, he was going to shut down 2 major media houses in Uganda, and NTV rather being one of them, and said, you know what, don't play with me or I'll shut you down. And actually, you know what, it seems like he felt he was played with and then shut them down. Allah. And so they failed to broadcast, and he said, I have the power to switch off the button, and then he did his finger like this. Tap. Yeah. And then now, woke up in the morning yesterday and there was nothing. Then now, he said, maybe I can put it back on. So these are some of the things we're going to be talking about. Are we excesses and things like that? And then one must also ask the question, how okay, Kainerugaba, is everything okay up there?
I know.
Bana.
The battles you have, sir. Do they serve a purpose?
Is he speaking for his father? Because in all of his tirades, his father has been distinctly silent, or is he just saying that he knows exactly what his son is saying and doing, and he's quiet because he's okay with it? What does it say about silence?
True. Confirmation, man.
Absolutely. That forms some of the conversations that we'll be having at 7 o'clock. And then at 8 o'clock, we'll look at the state of the nation as we do every Monday. Professor PLO Lumumba is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya and Tanganyika. We'll look at the state of the nation and abductions and rule of law. We'll talk about that at 8 with him. Some of these things just necessary to put us on a path. And I can see what Evelyn is doing. But I can understand now how these conversations are taking place. Dear Mr. President, we'll talk again at 9 o'clock. Uphold the rights of Kenyans. And I'm going to have the question in the first place, whether Kenyans actually understand what their rights really are.
Yeah.
Do you know? Maybe have a look at the Constitution. And then just talk about human rights in a little bit when we say, please, that needs to be one of the first things that you're actually doing. Sasa?
I think the biggest question is, let me have an addition to that question. Do all Kenyans understand what their rights really are?
For sure.
Because remember, whether you want to look at those in government, police, whichever the case, do they really understand what their rights are?
Because how do you demand something for which you don't know what it is?
Yeah.
And if we're asking that, the rights of Kenyans be upheld, then what is it? Yeah. And the picture in my mind still remains that man who was just beaten, taken, and clearly a person living with disabilities that was just beaten, mishandled by the police. In that moment, you see him, he's not able to move as you are as upright. In that moment.
Exactly.
So what happens?
Like this guy can't outrun you.
Bana. So does your brain become dislodged from the rest of your system for you to say, let's keep beating this guy to Iwe Funzo Yanini?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
To who exactly?
Yeah.
Speaks about the conditioning that our police officers go through. What happens to them that you lose yourself when you are at your job, once you wear that uniform? Just how are you conditioned to forget humanity?
I don't know, man.
Because that clip is like 10 seconds, but that 10 seconds, a lot happens.
It's a very long time.
You hear a police officer telling that gentleman, they've already taken crutches from him. He is on the floor. And an officer says, Nani jinue? Jinue tu kwa heshima yako. I'm like, a guy, he's disabled. You've taken away something that gives him the power to move.
Hey, happened to Tuko.
Kenya, my country.
Where? It doesn't look pretty, but if you understand what your rights are, your rights to not be beaten up, your rights to not be disappeared, your rights to not be arrested at dawn in your house. The right, if you understand, then you can demand them. But if you don't, then it puts us in a bit of a pickle. So to ask a question, that's what we're going to be asking, dear Mr. President. First of all, we understand what the rights are now. Can we ask, dear Mr. President, can you please uphold these rights? That's what our conversation then will look like at 9 o'clock. So thank you for being here. Our live streams are up. Cindy, am I lying?
They are.
They're up on YouTube, on Facebook, and on X, and also our audience on KTN this morning. Thank you for joining us. I realize that there are many, many people who listen silently on the way to where they're going. Thank you for being part of this conversation. Let's talk about it unto thought, unto action. Let's do it this morning. All right, sir. We left Kenya last week. Tuko wapi?
Did you know that Kenya is the only country in the continent that starts with the letter K? Like tuko tu sisi peke yetu.
Kazakhstan is not in Africa.
Waya.
I'm joking.
Just one of the unique things about Kenya.
Sawa basi. Congrats.
Thanks. Let's go to a country when you look at their flag, they have a heart in it, like a kofia.
Oh, a hat.
A heart.
Try again. Something else. Another
Something
clue.
else. Maseru is the capital.
Wait, I know the answer. Oi, Jamini.
It is a country within a country. It is a country inside a country.
It's Lesotho.
Lesotho.
Jeez, man.
It is Lesotho. And did you know Lesotho is the only country
that
in
starts
the
with
world?
an L. Okay, sorry.
No, in the world where it's at 1,000 feet above sea level, like the entire country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So it is called a kingdom in the sky because of its elevation, its elevation above sea level. Again, during winter, they actually experience snow.
Wow. They do. It snows a lot, actually,
it
from
snows
what I
a lot
understand.
in
It's true. It's
Lesotho.
true. It does.
So
It
if
does.
you want to experience snow, hapana usiende ngambo ile ya
Si
kutoka
lazima
nje.
uende ngambo.
Usiende ngambo. Enda tu ngambo ya wapi? Ya Lesotho
Ya
tu hapa
Lesotho.
kwa kona hapa. So they also have textile and garment manufacturing. Another thing about them is they have this blanket, which is like a national dress that they wear and really, really looks beautiful. I'm looking at some pictures here.
It's beautiful.
It looks really nice. And diamond mining as well, huge in the country. Agriculture and livestock as well, and water exports to South Africa through the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. So they export water to South Africa.
South Africa ina maji.
Wanatoa Lesotho.
Wow.
It is not Lesotho, my people. It's not.
Lesotho.
It's written as Lesotho, but it's Lesotho.
It is.
But let's go to the proverb.
Alrighty.
Okay? Inajua utapenda. Sasa. One who wants everything ends up with nothing. The one who wants everything ends up with nothing. In Swahili they say, mpanda farasi wawili upasuka msamba.
What's samba?
Msamba. Now, okay, let me do it in English. He who rides two horses, pasukas in the middle. You know msamba.
Okay. There was a musical that was done. It's called You Can't Take It With You.
Yep.
And it was just interesting because it was a story of a man who just went through his whole life trying to get. You can't take it. You will not take it with you. And the thing that is in my mind also is when you bury somebody, I mean, so sad to see that you bury somebody and they're gone. Everything that they had tried to take, everything that they had tried to amass, everything that... It goes. So you can enjoy it now. In this life is the best time to enjoy it. Bring out the china. Stop and smell the roses. Yeah. But then if you try to get everything, you end up with nothing. That's the truth. So you can get some today and you can live. You can get some tomorrow and you can live. You can keep some for a rainy day, which is a good idea. But that you want to amass all this wealth. Where? Even you will steal it.
Bwana, greed leads to loss, bwana. That's how I'll interpret it.
Write it down.
Greed
leads to loss.
But I get a little. You can't amass everything.
You can try.
You don't have the wherewithal to have everything. Because at some point, even when ukienda kwa baba, ukienda sayuni, imagine you'll forget to document all those things and they'll just disappear like that. We know politicians in this country who amassed a lot, and even when they were alive, they could not account to all the property that they had because they can't remember where they stashed them.
Exactly. Very true. You can't even remember.
You can't remember
how much you have, where you put it, nothing like that.
So what struggle to get all that?
I am in
agreement.
Thanks. The problem coming from sasa watu wa Lesotho wanaitwa?
Lesothoans. Setswana.
Yeah, the Setswana actually. Yeah, they are Setswana.
It's not Lesothoans.
Setswana.
Yeah.
Wamoyo hosts the Pink Perspective on Saturday with Becky, and awasalimia sana kila mtu. Just in case you're wondering, she's a very beautiful girl from Nanyuki.
Nani?
Wamoyo, Helen.
Oh, Wamzi.
Amewasalimia.
Wamzi unafanya niko ofisi sahi. That's my question.
Beauties from Nanyuki. Wako ofisi in the darkness.
I know, Wamzi.
Ulifukuzwa kutoka wapi nini?
Nashanga, umetoka wapi wewe?
But she's greeting everybody. And we're getting into it this Monday morning. Wacha tusalimia watu. Sasa Wamoyo amefungua mlango so that we can say hi to everybody this morning. Okay, so thank you for tuning in. We can see that you're in the room today.
The people of Lesotho are called Masoto.
Masoto. I know there's Masoto. There's Basoto.
Masoto is one. Basoto
is many.
I think it's a language.
It's one of the but it's also one of the tribes there.
Yeah.
Very good. Sasa tuko hapo. Yes, I knew it was a Soto.
Basoto.
A very good morning to you, says Peter Kiari. Tuned in. Anyone who thinks they're too small to make an impact, or rather to make a difference, has never met the honeybee. Where? Robert Ibogo says, good morning from Mombasa. Alex Gyoko says, good morning, SpiceFM. Kitale to Korada. So I was telling you about my son, who incidentally just turned 13 on Sunday. And he just walk into the room and he'll say, Rada. So I'll be like,
less.
What?
Less.
What are you saying? Like radar?
Yeah. Just respond.
Yeah,
Rather,
well, I didn't get.
just say rudderless.
I only found out the meaning on Friday, so
Yeah.
he'd be like, "So, Mom, you need to get with it." So,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm with it.
You're getting with it.
I'm getting with it. Getting tricky with it. Nah. Okay. Fiery Red says, "Good morning, Nduh and Aseto. Another day to give you your flowers. Asante sana. Aseto poke maua.
Santsana.
Many thanks for all you do on a daily. Much appreciated. And to you too, sir. Asante sana." Johnny Kasula says, "Good morning, tuned in from Kitui South." Clement Ochola says, "Good morning." Malindi Kwachocha. "Another week to tighten our belts, though the belts are almost short." Wangi Juma says, "Good morning, Team Spice." Mkoje. Mkoje is like Mko Aje put together.
Yeah.
Okay. "The ostrich is still burying its head in the sand, but Kenyans in Nani, we shall pull it out come August 2027.
You better.
Yes, you need to.
Yeah.
Hello, Princess Nduh and Aseto says, "Leo, very good morning to you. Get well, tall man." Yes, get well.
Sana.
With 500B, there were semblances of a working education sector. Why does it look like it's not working without an additional 200B? The money that was allocated does not... Do I want to get into this morning?
Get into it.
Am I not feeling peace? Then peace like a river attendeth my way. I have to sing myself into a state of peace.
Yeah.
The money allocated for education
Reset
in the
button.
budget. If that money were actually to get to everywhere
True.
that is needed, we would be seeing a difference. It is not enough. Even the 730 billion
Yep.
towards education is not enough. However, if you actually saw that the money that was allocated gets to where it's supposed to be going, we would not have a problem.
True.
Louder. Nashan Gogi says, "Good morning. Good morning, Nduh and Dennis. Looking forward to another week of wonderful conversations. Also, let's wish our DRC brothers all the best in their next game.
Yep.
Love from Arizona, Kabisa." Did I skip a few people? It would seem that I did. Bernardo Gamba says, "Good morning. Tell principals who are back from coastal trip to disseminate key deliberations. Most of them feel over entitled to interact and share with their teachers." Ogamba amesema hii mambo ya kusomesha watoto kutoka asubuhi mpaka jioni mtawacha. Let children go and have some co-curricular activities. Go outside. Extracurricular. It's important. And this is one of the things that he said to the school heads as they've come from the Mombasa.
You know that information needs to go to who exactly? To the district educational officers, extension officers,
To go and ensure that's actually happening.
that directive from the CS.
I am in agreement. Joseph Risho says, "Good morning. A long chair does not make a king." Indeed. That's a great Sudanese proverb. Watching from Portland, Oregon is Mashari and Jera. Very good morning to you. Tibbs Muge says, "Good morning, Spice FM team." Good morning. Christina says, "Good morning, tuned in as well." Kimiyak, I smile when I see your name. Monday morning, well, everybody really. Monday morning and morning plus a morning run plus morning spice hits the right spot. Kabisa. Now that needs to be put on a t-shirt. But still, let it be known that nothing good will come out of the Kenya Kwanzaa administration. Kimiyak, good morning to you.
Morning.
Daniel Churu says, "Good morning, dear crew. There's a group of people from a certain country which have been intersecting triangles on its flag. The things they have been up to around the world and still are. Wake up, world."
Yeah.
I know. So if you know the world's flags and they're intersecting triangles with two colors, you might want to think about what that is. One of those colors is white. Shh, Nduh, shh.
Yeah.
Jennifer Tenney says, "Good morning, Nduh Aseto Spice family. We know our rights, and this should be included in People's Police Courses 101. Jennifer, I want to hear at 9 what those are. And those police officers should deal with their conscience. Have a great week, people. To you too, Jennifer, my love." Luhimbo says, "Good morning, my family. Just remember, a sense of humanity among law enforcement agencies is gone out the window." It's gone. And this is a reflection of the leadership from the top to the bottom. Rogers Nyang is tuned in this morning from Brikani in Voi. And Raskodor says, "Good morning, Team Spice. I learned that Musgo had promised Nithi Bridge before that 10 times. Who bewitched Kenyans, Yawa? Nithi Bridge has been promised again." Let me ask you, this bridge is, like the phenomenon that we don't exactly understand what happens. Like the people of Scotland tell the story of the Loch Ness monster. That if you go to a particular part of Scotland, there's a monster that just grabs people in kind of like a bog and nobody really knows where they go. It's like an urban legend. We don't really know if it's true. Same thing with the Bermuda Triangle. For some reason, when ships enter into this particular triangle in the Caribbean, they just disappear. It's like a vortex of wind and they go. People don't know the phenomenon or understand it. Again, another urban legend. Is it possible that the Nithi Bridge is another urban legend? Is it possible?
Can I tell you what's happening? Let us just stop promising with the intention of fulfilling the promise.
You have you gone to Nithi and seen the bridge?
Yes.
You've seen the non-bridge. I'm telling you, this new bridge could be an urban legend.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
I'm
it could be added to the list of
I'm
those
telling you,
things.
the only people who are using that new bridge, is just Casper and his brother.
Yes. Hey, my gosh. D Combo says, good morning, latecomers. Nduh na Aseto, hii tabia mtoa wapi? Latecomers are wapi? Wewe umekuwa wapi asubuhi leo? Paul Olaka says, good morning. Taka vyote hukosa vyote. Yes. Osena Emily says, good morning, Spice family. Did I hear right that Ruto at 90, Kenya will be the first world? He ain't going nowhere. Ruto, when he's 90, Kenya will be in the first world. Well, okay, sawa. Eric War says, good morning, guys. And it's Kenny says, good morning, Nduh and Dennis. The Greeks have a saying, he who the gods want to destroy, first they make mad. Yes. He who the gods want to destroy, first they make mad. Absolutely. So is somebody going cuckoos? That's about to go down. Yes, indeed, it is Mosoto and Basoto.
Yes.
Shiro Hussein says, good morning, tuning from Marsabit. Yay, good morning to you. Dave Mangera says, good morning, Tol and Nduh. Lenin, you've called yourself Lenin. Wow, okay. Good morning and tuning from the land of the cradle of mankind, county 023. That is Turkana, is it not? Mtuvlani says, good morning to the princess, Sharap and the squad. Aseto, with all your sweaters. Are you sure you are not Basoto too? That design on your sweater actually could come close to something that one of the cloth that we see.
Yeah.
Do you do it on purpose?
Well, when you do research, you have to look the part.
Kabisa. Galasis says, good morning. Let me borrow Nduh's method of singing myself to peace. Yeah. There's a story of there's a video of a baby who wanted to sleep. She wanted to sleep and she was used to being patted to sleep by her mother or father, whatever, before she... So at some point she said, Sasa, now nobody is here to pat me. Oh, actually, Jipat. Yeah. She patted herself. So that's me now. You're looking for peace. I sing. It is well.
It is well
with my soul.
With my soul.
It is well. It is well with my soul. Una jipat. Otherwise, cheesy.
My friend.
Where?
That nut and bolt will fall.
Disappear. They just divorce from each other. Herbert says, good morning. We're back into abductions. Oh, no. Imagine we are into abductions. Where? Ivan Amondi says, good morning. Kitangela is tuned in. Sabalheri. Team Spice says, Rogers live. Very good morning.
Sabalheri to you too.
Sabalheri to you too.
Yes, Twende.
What does it mean?
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Yes. And now I'll never forget, now that I've been told. Beja says, good morning, tuning from Paddington in London. And Cosmas Marisi says, good morning, tune in, good people. And James Karaoke says, good morning, tuned in from Soy. Great back to school week kwa mwalimu wa JS. Yes, please. And Isho Wian says, good morning, tuned in from Doha. Yes, kids are going back to school from today, tomorrow, and into Wednesday. God in heaven, please protect these children and whatever these people went and discussed when they went to Mombasa.
Let them implement.
And the people who didn't go to Mombasa but had to stay where they were. Yeah. May we come back into this school, the second half of term 2, with a renewed vigor. But then apart from that, that's the desire to just do. Can you imagine if everybody went and did the minimum? Just the what?
The minimum.
Just the minimum. Imagine
something
that's what
has been said. Yeah. It is not well with my taxes.
My dear, it's well with your soul.
It is well with your soul.
That's where we are going to start. Let's take a break and look at what's happening on the roads and in the sky. We'll come back and look what's going on in the headlines. A very good morning to you. 2227.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
Cloudy conditions in Nairobi this morning. We will see a high of 24. It's 13 and sunny into Nakuru, and 12 and cloudy into Njeri this morning. Kisumu at 19 degrees is clear, and it's mostly clear at 18. Looking into Kakamega, 23 and sunny conditions in Mombasa, while at 24 It's partly cloudy into Malindi, 18 and sunny in Marsabit, and it's 19 and partly cloudy into Kampala, while Dar es Salaam at 21 is mostly sunny. It's 9 degrees and partly cloudy in Johannesburg, while it's raining lightly in Lagos at 25, clear at 14 into London, while it's partly sunny at 27 in Beijing. It's 22 and clear Sunday night in New York. Coming into Monday, we'll see a high of 27 and a low of 21.
Chilled Spice.
Traffic update brought to you by Chloride Oxide.
All right, Monday morning means that there's a lot that's going to be happening. If you were in the traffic on Saturday and Sunday off of Mombasa Road because they're erecting that bridge or whatever it is that they're doing, that thing is called what? Overpass. That one. It was bringing a lot of drama. Yeah, footbridge. Hopefully that they will not be into those activities this morning, so that it seems that there's no traffic along there, at least for now. There is a little bit of traffic on North Airport Road heading outbound towards Embakasi and inbound as well. Looks like it might just be a bit busy. Jogo Road is busy as you head out towards Landis and then on towards Haile Selassie. That's busy this morning. Let's take a look at the Thika Superhighway, where we may have understood that there is a lot of traffic this morning coming in all the way from the Northern Bypass connection with the Roiro interchange, and so that's busy as you then get past Kasarani out towards the Pangani underpass and then into the city. This morning it is busy. It's Monday morning, folks are up and about, and we're going to see a lot of crisscrossing of travel as schools reopen after the midterm break, so let's keep an eye on things and keep it moving. We'll talk SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Traffic update was brought to you by Chloride Oxide. Wherever the road takes you these days, stay powered by Chloride Oxide. Get total peace of mind on the highway with the premium Oxide battery range backed by a rock-solid 18-month manufacturer's warranty. Chloride Oxide, inside from Chloride Oxide.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, we continue with our conversation this morning. If you're just tuning in, this is the Situation Room on this Monday morning. And let's look into the headlines now at this point. Quite something. Spending spree. Mutuflani, you might want to, stock up because it looks like it's going to be an interesting morning. There are pictures there of your governors of different counties, but the sub here is a new report. The bold newspaper, Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard, benchmarking billions. A new report, not from The Standard, from the Controller of Budget, shows that county governments are wasting huge amounts of money on unnecessary allowances and costs of local travel, conferences, and international meetings. The report warns that many counties are also overspending on salaries. Their wage bills take up 44% of their total revenue. Remember, which is above the legal limits of 35% set within the law. Governors are using too much money on travel and staff costs, leaving little for roads, health, water, and other services that Kenyans need. Okay. Some of the governors that are on the front page of The Standard this morning. With the least amount, 219.82 million shillings is the amount that Homa Bay County spent on domestic travel with no allocation for foreign travel. There is Gladys Wanga, who is the governor of the county. Coming in next at 235.37 million shillings is Anwai Koro, the county governor. However, it is the amount that Kirinyaga County spent on domestic travel with no allocation for foreign travel. Yani hii pesa yote travel hapa ndani Kenya
tu.
Kwani Kirinyaga Sagana to like Karatina. It's like how much? I'm just asking. 235 million shillings is a lot of money for local travel. I'm just going to repeat just so that it's not my Monday morning without coffee brain. This is the amount that was spent on domestic travel in Kenya. That's what domestic means. With no allocation to foreign travel. Ile ya foreign travel ni tofauti.
Yeah, you're different.
Ni different. Coming in third place, Machakos hapa. 249.15 million shillings, amount that Machakos County spent on domestic travel. Hapa tu. Machakos, tunaenda Kitui kidogo. Then maybe we go to Mombasa, tunaenda just east. And then tunaenda west kidogo. West sana tukienda sana. Kiambu. Anyway, whatever.
Lakini tunashida Nairobi kila siku.
That's right. Lakini tumeshida Nairobi paka tumespend 240 what?
249. Alafu hapo chini iko
302.9 million shillings. Sorry. Acha.
Iko against the 4.89 million.
Hii sasa tulipanda ndege. Na tukatoka the borders of Kenya.
Tulipigiwa passport muhuri. Kabisa.
Welcome to wherever.
Yeah.
64.89 million shillings is the amount of money that you spent on the outside and the travel of the Kenya.
Yes, that is 14 million shillings richer to what Rigathi Gachagua was offered by the courts. Just saying.
Coming in at fourth place on the front page this morning, according to the controller of budget, Baringo County spent 302.9 million shillings on domestic travel. Come, I beg, you people, what does domestic travel mean? Or does it include plus accommodation? Or this one is just that you climb bus, you climb train, you climb plane, and then went somewhere inside Kenya?
So you travel, right? So there is air ticket, then there is accommodation, and then where you are as well, there is transport as well within. So you got an S500 in London to move you from point A to point B. But so ukitoka Masaku kuja Nairobi, you have like an entourage. You know the move with many cars, eh?
Yeah.
So I assume you have like 10 vehicles to move you around plus your stuff. You know, someone has to carry your handbag.
You know what? That by the time Sheila Tembur comes to read news, tukianza sai tuko Machakos. I'm just asking if you are aware.
Yeah.
All right. But they decided that money is what they spent. Now, Watu wa Baringo, the county has spent 302.9 million shillings domestic travel and 20.64 million shillings that was spent. Now, understand, when they say was spent, imesha ding ding ching spent, not allocated. This one has been spent, gone. And then bringing in the sheaves, we shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves.
Go
Nairobi, 1.18 billion shillings.
Rudia,
1.18 billion shillings. It's the amounts that Nairobi County spent on domestic travel
in a county that garbage is still a problem. Continue.
And also, as we were traveling outside of the country, we numerized 373.61 million shillings. That was the amounts that we spent traveling
Water supply still remains being
country.
A mirage.
Yes,
it's
but we benchmark in New York. Bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Exactly.
It's New York. We went to see how things are done.
Yes.
Yeah.
We went to say hi to Mamdani.
Hey, hello.
Sabji.
Wewe. Yeah, control of budget said this is the kind of money that y'all are spending.
And you see, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just 5.
So you, the woman who was outside the hospital in Mandera now, Liza, outside the hospital, we're traveling.
Nduh. You see 1.1 billion was spent. Ukienda pale Landis Road.
Yeah.
It is hop, step, and a jump.
Fly
because
even.
Ukiruka hapa, iko nyanya ya mutu. Ukiruka huku, kuna kinyesi. Ukikanyaga hapa, you think it's a puddle of water. No, it's a puddle of susu.
Wewe, telling you that you're traveling.
Anyway.
That's just the headline. That's on the front page. I hand it over to you to take page 2 because I'm tired.
Wacha mimi nichukue page 2.
Yeah.
There is a gentleman here. He's a general from Uganda. You gotta love his mustache, eh?
To know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uganda's military silence nation media outlets in press crackdown. So the closure of NTV Uganda and Daily Monitor has heightened fears over declining press freedom in East Africa. The move sparked regional condemnation of escalating state intimidation and censorship. Remember, this is, one would say, intimidation of the media, especially in East Africa, is quite concerning. You go to Tanzania, you come to Kenya, there is also Uganda. One asks the question, why? What is it that government does not want its people to know? Now, Muturi, press must be free, protected from intimidation. That is according to former Attorney General Justin Muturi, who condemned the intimidation and harassment of editors and journalists, saying such actions violate the constitution and undermine Kenya's democracy. This coming days after Standard Group associate editor was, there were abduction attempts in Nakuru County, and this goes to show just how deep concerning the matter is. Now, Mushina reports billboard vandalism. Now, UDA parliamentary candidate Samuel Mushina has reported vandalism of his campaign billboards in Captain Town, raising concerns of growing political intolerance ahead of the July 16th All Kalau by-election. All Kalau, many say, everybody wants to win.
Yeah.
The stakes are high, but even while at that, we just call upon everybody to exercise peace and tolerance.
Yeah, let's behave ourselves.
Sell your agenda, I will sell mine. You want me, vote for me. You don't want me, don't vote for me.
Period. Yeah.
Now, Kenya's prolific blood donor hits 111 donations. Now, the Nakuru-based court prosecutor declared the country's most prolific blood donor. Now, he coordinates blood donation drives, helping maintain a steady supply in blood banks. So that is Alpha Kennedy Sanya, who has posed with his award after he was honored by the National Heroes Council for donating blood 105 times in 2024. This man has a lot of blood.
Either that or... Okay, sorry. Because every time you give blood, right? We're told when you donate blood, you have to wait for 3 months before you give again. How was he able to?
105.
How much in a year or how long?
105.
Because he said in 2024, he gave blood 105 times. So 2 people are lying to us, or 1, or who?
Yeah. Either information we've had throughout coming from the medical field is a lie.
Because that meant for him to give blood 105 times, and if there was going to be any kind of respite between donations, that means that he was given blood. He was giving blood every 3 days.
Every 3 days, yeah.
Yeah. If he gave blood 105 times, he was basically giving blood every 3 days, every 3 to 4 days for the entire year.
Yeah.
Abi, how did they count it?
Doctor, please, to explain it, because it's not making sense.
No, it doesn't. So, especially when they said that there needs to be a hiatus between donations.
Page 4, we've looked at that story, the benchmarking. So go get yourself a copy of the Standard, and you'll see how much you count, because it's been listed there. Akiamungi pesa ni nyingi, my God. Akiamungi pesa ni nyingi.
Where is your county? Can I help you? Just kidogo too. Where is your county? Do you know how much you spent? Baringo, you spent 302.9 million shillings on domestic and 20.64 on foreign. Bomet, you spent 171. Bungoma, you spent 360. And then on foreign travel, you spent 12. In Bomet, you spent 39 on foreign travel. Busia, you spent 171 on domestic and 40 on foreign. Elgeyo Marakwet, you spent 65 on domestic, kind of makes sense, and then you spent 11 on foreign. Embu, you spent 131.6 on domestic and 27 on foreign. Garissa, you spent 62 on domestic and 10 on foreign. Homa Bay, you spent 219 on domestic and none on foreign. Isiolo, 93. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on. And West Pokot.
Hey.
Hello?
Yes.
West Pokot, you spent 492.91 shillings on foreign, on domestic travel. And 11 on foreign.
I think even as these individuals travel, right? We need to look at value for money, return on investment. Because one would say, if you travel within the country and we are not seeing any result from that travel,
then come and go and sit down.
No, return that money to Wananchi so that it can do something else. Because no, we can't live like that and
West
expect
Pokot,
that we're moving.
Munenda wapi? That's also the question. We've already looked at the chagrin that is there. Yeah, bwana. Samburu. Hello, Samburu. 417 million shillings on domestic travel.
Meru. 20.
Hey.
Now Nairobi is just 1.1.
Kitui 482. Governor Malombe Nyaje, let me ask you, even Mombasa is at 156.54. Let me understand. We see Abdul Samad everywhere all the time, everywhere, but he still just spent 156. West Pokot, tell me who the governor of West Pokot is.
I don't know.
Nenda wapi? And it's not just him. There are other people who travel. This is understood. But I'm just making the comparison that people that we see all over the place, every day they're somewhere.
Nduh.
Nani, Abdul Somad was in Nairobi just the other day. West Pokot to tell us who is the governor. That's my point. You've gotten my point. Okay.
You see, here's now the question where one says, if an example is set by the highest office, you've set the example, everybody else will follow that. There's a conversation we're having with a certain taxi driver the other day, and we were behind this Passat. And what this gentleman said was, Mwai Kibaki, there's a reason why he decided that all the ministers would move with Passats, because it is easy to maintain, it is easy to fuel, right? And if that was the example that he had set, then you can imagine today, if that was ministers were moving with Passats, there is no way on earth that the government of Kenya would be giving members of parliament 5 million shillings to buy vehicles, because the cabinet has set an example. So it would give you car loans based off the standard that the government of Kenya has set. So when we decided to go back to V8s and Gazelas and all those things,
what do you expect?
It is very expensive. It is very expensive to fuel, to maintain, and to ferry people around. I
want to disabuse anyone of the notion that I'm saying that West Pokot is less important than another county. My point is that if you're spending 417 million shillings on domestic travel, then we should be able to see the value for the money that you are spending. Let's even see you somewhere. Let's even know that there's something that you're doing, Bana. That's my point here. Not to excuse anybody who's jumping all over the place, but, let's see that you're doing something. Anyway, her job is to report. She has reported and told you what your count, and it's not just, and also to disabuse us of the notion that it is just the governor who's up about and going places. That's not the case. That their staff, after all, the CEC for Nairobi is in America.
Yeah. Oh, the one for finance.
Yeah. Finance
in,
CEC is in America. And that's actually the story on page 7.
So, iko page 5.
Oh, heck, ahead.
Iko story hapa. SHA system glitches disrupt hospitals.
Way. Which SHA? The one that's working?
That one.
Oh, okay.
That one that is working has a glitch. And that glitch has affected services in hospitals. So let me just lead the subheads. Now, health facilities report persistent OTP failures in the SHA system, forcing manual processing and slowing care. Now, your OTP is what?
One-time password.
One-time password.
Yeah.
Ile you've been logged in, then you're told, ongojea kuna message
inakuja kwa simu,
so that we can put that into your information.
Right.
So now that system has a glitch.
Oh, no.
OTP is hanging somewhere hanging somewhere in the lines. Bado haijaland. So what they are forced to do is to go manual. What manual entry into the system does is it slows down access to care. So assuming you have 1,000 people and you have to input one by one, how long are you spending? Now, while hospitals cite a week-long disruption, the health CS denies system-wide downtime. You see, the cabinet secretary sits in his air-conditioned office, right? He has an office in the corner enjoying the views of Uhuru Park and Bunge Towers. That's where his office is, right? But the people who are using the system are telling you, we have been having a glitch for the entire week and it's slowing down the system. It's slowing us offering services to wananchi. Instead of you fixing it, you're saying, that thing is working. You've not even logged into the damn thing.
I just have one
to look at if it's working.
Hii system really cost how much pesa?
104 billion.
Let me tell you something.
Yes.
If you're going to spend 104 billion shillings on a system, guess what? Even 1 second of downtime, you're not allowed.
You're not.
Because that means, and then we say, things happen technologically. Yes, we know that things happen technologically. We understand that, and that there can be hitches every now and then. But if you're going to spend 104 billion Kenya shillings on a system because they told us it's a system. Your system or OTP is not functioning. Not hours. Do you know? I can understand if you say there were a couple of hours downtime. Days, 24 hours.
24 hours and 7.
Round 1, 2, 7. 7 days. And you spend 104 billion shillings on the thing.
Yeah.
My friend, if you spent 104 billion shillings on a system, it goes...
A second glitch is a mistake.
It cannot...
It's
it
a
shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen.
Because what we are saying is that we are equating this amount that you have spent to quality that we were looking for, that everybody says, fuck Christ, much better than NHIF. It's the one thing and going. It's good. However, 7 days of a glitch is not a glitch. 7 days of a glitch means that your system is corrupted and that from the very beginning it could not stand what it was needed to do. 7 days is not a glitch, my friend.
It's not a glitch, it's a breakdown.
Jamani.
Let me tell you what doctors are saying, like providers. They're saying hospital administrators who spoke to the Standard on condition of anonymity, please do with that information what you want, for fear of victimization, said the system challenge have further made it difficult to process patients under the Social Health Insurance Fund. Now, the system has been unstable for the entire week, said a health provider. Bwana Dwale, you're not a health provider. The health providers are telling you it's not working. Bwana, if that glitch has been there for 7 days, you got no time to sit there and trash what you're being told. Fix the damn thing.
Mandago amesema tusiweke kwa lungs. Hii nimeweka kwa lungs, bwana.
Hii nimeweka.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the news. I'm Sheila Tembor. The government has paid 444 million shillings to 348 victims of public protest under a new compensation program. Speaking in an interview with a local TV station, chairperson of the past panel of experts on compensation of victims of demonstration and public protest, Professor Makao Mutua, said another 500 victims are expected to receive compensation next week. A SAD framework was developed by a multidisciplinary team and informed by similar programs in Nepal, Nigeria, South Africa, and Bangladesh.
In the first phase of the compensation process, we have processed 348 claims in which we have paid 448 million shillings so far. Starting next week, we are going to process another 500 claims. And so we are making progress. And I want to say that some of the victims who have been compensated have come forward to express, a measure of relief.
Professor Mutua also appealed to victims who have not received communication about their claims to contact the relevant office for assistance.
Victims have to self-identify, and they have to go to places which are designated. They have to contact us at various phone numbers and also at email accounts. We have an office at KICC. They can come there and lodge a claim. A lot of the victims have already lodged claims with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights and the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA. I myself have called openly for anyone who feels that they qualify for compensation to come forward and lodge a claim.
In other news, Court Secretary General Francis Atwoli has urged Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen to take firm action against political leaders accused of incitement. Atwoli called on security agencies to enforce the law impartially, warning that hate speech and divisive rhetoric threaten national unity, peace and development. Assad leaders found inciting the public should be held accountable.
Na tukifika next year kama bado iko incitement, ninataka kuambia wa Kenya muwe ready for anything. There will be a lot of problems. Na mimi namuuliza Murkomen, nauliza wote katika serikali, hasa watu wa Mutanu security ya nchi yetu, ni lazima wachukue hatua kwa inciters for this country to remain peaceful. That must be done. Na kama hawajui, waje tuwafundishe.
Atwoli also threatened to lead demonstration against leaders accused of incitement and reaffirmed his support for President William Ruto's bid for a second term.
Na mkitaka siku moja wakicheza, nitawaongoza kwa miguu kutoka hapa tukitembea, tukitafuta wale wachochezi, na tutatafuta wachochezi, tutatafuta wachochezi, na wakitaka kujua tuko united, wangojee mwaka ujao. Hakuna kura hata moja ya Mbaduya itaenda kando. Hata mnunue vijana wetu, hata mfanye nini, hakuna kura ya Mbaduya itaenda kando. Mimi nataka kuona mikono yenu juu.
And the National Police Service says it has received a report on the disappearance of Mathare activist Davis Lichuma. Police spokesperson Mushiri Nyaga says the report was filed at Central Police Station in Nairobi. Lichuma, member of the Mathare Social Justice Center, went missing on 25th June during the second anniversary of the 2024 Gen Z protest. The NPS says it treats missing persons cases seriously and has urged anyone with information to report to the nearest police station. It adds that investigations are ongoing to establish Lichuma's whereabouts and those of other reported missing persons. Meanwhile, activists and human rights defenders led by retired Chief Justice David Maraga have demanded his release within 24 hours and threatened protest on Tuesday if he is not found.
They are abducted by people who conceal their identity, and you don't know who these people are. The issue at hand here is mainly the fact that we have a government which does not listen to its people. It all started in 2024. Young people were protesting and saying, look, this bill is making life impossible for their families. What you are told is that the country is doing very well. They were abducted, they were killed. You know, since 2024, more than 120.
And that's the news. I'm Sheila Tembur.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Every time he kept on saying he wants a vibrant opposition.
How does it make sense that public money has been used already and then they dare to sell it back to you? Why are they not giving them for free?
That's how broken we are. That's how broken we are.
They are being sent home now for fees. They're going to fail to prepare. We are compromising the futures of these children.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Parliament has got powers. Let me break it down. The National Assembly can initiate an impeachment of the president.
This same
and the
National
Senate,
Assembly.
Yes. That's our constitution.
This is just a continuation of the previous administration, which Ruto was part of. President Uhuru himself openly said that we're losing 2 billion daily. Daily. I mean, come on. Are you saying that we don't have a central bank?
If we look at Kenya, both public-private sector, that figure is ranging between 30 to 40%, right?
I think it's clear that the government of Kenya is living beyond its means.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Baba should disown these experts and say they went there on the because he keep on telling us that these experts you came from Dubai and you found them there already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.9 101.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 8 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday morning, the 29th of June. Karibuni sana, and thank you for joining us in the Situation Room this morning. We get into a number of conversations where we're going to have to look at some of these things really critically. And that usually when you talk about going forward, you can't remove yourself from what happened before. That most times you're going to have to connect what has previously happened to how you're going to then operate into the future. It'll make a little bit of sense when we start to have the conversation that we're getting into this morning. But before we do that, Sisasa, now you didn't power us to go into Friday. Power us into the week, Mr. Aseto.
Let me tell you how we're starting this 8-day week, yeah? So you need to travel from point A to point B. Right? And you need to travel in style. Now, in our modern vehicles where they're considered to be computers on wheels, why is that? Because you have heated and cooled seats. You have heated steering wheel. You have your sunroof that is opening and closing as well. Others call it moonroof as well. You have an automatic electronic tailgate, right?
Yes.
One that goes up and goes down. All that is powered by a system. And this is where you need to have the right battery for the right vehicle. Enter chloride dioxide. Now, chloride dioxide is telling you we have been powering this nation since 1963. Moved president from point A to point B. Maybe it has moved cabinet secretaries from point A to point B, you know? And it's telling you we are here to ensure that we continue providing you with nothing but the very best. You need that battery, you just need to call somebody who's gonna come in. Right? And even while at that, the battery comes with 18 months warranty. So you are used to buy, relax, and enjoy as you're powered by what?
Chloride dioxide. Fantastic. And what a way to start the week. Definitely our friends at Chloride Dioxide saying, let's give you a little bit of power to get into it. All right. So this hour, we're going to be looking into the state of democracy, shutdown, politics, and accountability. Our two guests are here with us in the hot seats of the Situation Room. A very good morning to Samuel Pogisho, who's the former Senate Majority Leader and ICT Minister, here with us this morning again. Good morning, Bwana Pogisho.
Good morning. Good
How are
to
you
be
doing?
here.
Good to be here. Good to see you here. Karibu sana. Former Minister as well, Kipruto Arab Kirwa, is also here with us in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, somebody was asking me yesterday when they knew that I was coming here, when does she go on leave?
I need you to ask that question again. Hopefully by the end of it, we'll get an answer.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So as you both know, we go through the African continent every week. We come from a different African country. I love the country that Aseto is in this week. Actually, his name kind of sounds like that country. We'd love to get your interpretation.
The country we are in today, the capital is Maseru. It is a country that is within a country, if that makes sense. We are in Lesotho, right? The people of Lesotho, a single person is called Masoto. When there are many, it is Basoto. It is also the country, the only country in the world that is 1,000 feet above sea level across the world. It's very high. If you want to enjoy winter, you don't need to leave the continent. Just go to Lesotho and you'll enjoy the cold winters and snow in the country. But the proverb we get from this beautiful country, one who wants everything ends up with nothing. One who wants everything ends up with nothing. How would you interpret it?
Well, I think it's a question of you must also be fair to the rest, so that it's about equity. That they say in Kiswahili mtaka vyote ukosa vyote. So I think that is the same, and you realize the certain, you call them Ngeli, Masoto. It is like, it is Bantu. Yeah, Bantu. And that's why it has that correlation with Kiswahili. Mtaka vyote ukosa vyote. That is, be fair. Yeah, you just take whatever belongs to you, but also allow others to partake in whatever you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Monsieur Pogisho, how would you interpret it?
I think it brings out the African concept of community, of sharing. And so you cannot be greedy in a community to the extent that you want to keep things for yourself and a lot of things while others have. African societies would take care of their widows, their orphans, the weaker people, the people who don't have much. They'll find a way of compensating, and the idea is all children are taught to care about other people, but see, I think when we got our education, which is foreign. We started being greedy and wanting to amass and so on. We're competing, I don't know with who. So that's a big problem there. Amassing, wanting to own everything. And as you can realize, by the way, that you'll miss friends, you'll miss colleagues, you'll miss, the community.
Yeah. Well said. Well interpreted, Asante Sana.
Indeed. And so Kenya finds itself in a very interesting space. And we want to look at numbers already, what we've been told, and rather not numbers, but dates. We've been told as to when the campaign season will officially open. Now, you might be in a different country when you see what compared to what the reality is. So, by and large, we've been told that by the 29th of May until the 7th of August is when the campaign season will open. Now, what we're experiencing in the country at the moment might be totally different from that. But we're looking at the state of democracy in terms of what actually happens, from shutdowns to politics and accountability. And this conversation might spill over beyond the borders of Kenya, especially with what we witnessed over the weekend. But let's start off and look into the situation at the moment. We talk about democracy, whether it was a system that was handed down to Kenya or whether it was a system that was suggested. How would you say things look at the moment? Bonakiro, are we addressing matters in a democratic manner? And if it should change, how should it change?
Well, we are living under very interesting times, given the fact that the current regime started campaigning the first day they were being sworn into office by doing a lot of damage to the immediate former regime, until many Kenyans almost believed the story that the current president was not part of the last regime. And yet for the 10 years, and the first 5 years, it was almost like co-presidency. So if there are any mistakes attributed to Uhuru Kenyatta, he partook in those mistakes because he was in the cabinet. And when you're in the cabinet, it's a clearinghouse. When there are any differences, you're supposed to deal with those differences at that particular stage, so that when you come out of it, there is what we call collective responsibility. And if you did not raise a finger at the time those issues were being canvassed at the cabinet level, then you have no moral authority to tell us that was a regime that you are not part of. Of course, the second part of Uhuru's government, the current president was seen to be an outsider within the government, and therefore, and I think it was strategically done so that anything good was seen to be associated with him, and anything that the public did not really approve of, they made it appear that there were other powers within the system. And of course, he capped it all by talking of the dynasties and the hustlers, something that resonated with so many Kenyans, to the extent that he got a chance to occupy the house at the hill. This therefore means our democracy is not being properly structured. You remember, this democracy, the way we know it, started some time back. Of course, with the Greeks almost having some kind of consultation across the board. And later on, there's representative democracy. And the formation of the state, as we know today, took place in 1648, where in Westphalia, the countries that were involved, about 13 of them, decided that we shall have common understanding, that none shall be attacked, none will get involved in the internal affairs of any other state. And therefore, there's what we see today as collective security. And that is something that was given to Africa after the colonialism. Then came the semblance of democracy. Otherwise, when you look at it strictly, we are here to get into that space where when you lose an election, it's still democracy. When you win, it's still democracy. We are dealing with democracy as if it is a commodity that is malleable, that I should turn it my way. As long as I'm doing that, it's okay. Today, if you are to listen to the president, you would actually think he's a leader of official opposition, because he's complaining about certain individuals that are hampering him from implementing certain projects. Yesterday, or the other day when he was in Meru, he was saying there are people who don't want a state house to be built in Meru. Really, who has told him that? Why should we imagine a situation that has not taken place? So these are some of the issues that we need. But the most important thing that I feel as a Kenyan is that we must do social reengineering of our nation, because I think the level of hostility that we have today, people are impatient about August next year. Whether there will be change, I don't know. But my worry is that there is so much hostility, there is so much negative feelings about each other, to the extent that you would actually imagine that these are people who have not shared anything in the past. But when you see the last 25 years, it has been just shifting from one side to the other, whether it was what they were calling code, whether it was NASA, whether it was Azimio last year and Kenya Kwanza. There's no political entity that has remained the same for more than 2 elections. It has been morphing from one to the other. And this therefore tells you we are poisoning our people. And I get worried at times when I imagine the next general election.
I mean, Bwana, we look at where we find ourselves today as a country, and we just need to go back to what many say would have been the best election the country has ever had, and to go back to 2002. And you look at 2002 Kenyans and the election that there was, and Mwai Kibaki taking office, to a point where Kenyans themselves went to the streets and said, we're here to fight corruption. We will arrest police officers ourselves who are corrupt and ensure that justice is actually served. A point where Kenyans with Mwai Kibaki's agenda of kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea, Kenyans paying these taxes, free education becoming a reality in the country. What has changed so much that we find ourselves today as a country that we're finding there is politics of negative ethnicity that we see in 2026, thinking that 2007 taught us never to go back that route again?
It's our fallacy. It's the thing that brings us always into problems. Is our thinking. We forget so quickly that 2007 ever happened. We forget that it's way back in 1992 ever happened, and subsequently we forget about it. We're thinking in terms of I want to become the president of this country, and I want so and so to come with me, and anybody who is opposed to that is the enemy of the people, must be treated very strongly, and so on. So you find what we call democracy is lost. What we call a piece of the nation is lost. We worry about how we benefit from being in government rather than how we bring the people together into a peaceful coexistence. Right now we've taken on a very negative political arrangement. Apart from saying are you 2-term, 1-term, there is also the heavy mobilization of ethnic communities into political formations. And so what's going to happen here is I'm going to have my cluster, which basically is my community. He'll have his, she will have hers, and everyone then will come together and say we are a country and we are a nation. And so we form a government which is already in itself divided into those tribal things. So why? Because that's the way we started. That's the way we formulated our journey. And when we get there, we start appointing according to those clusters. And so there'll be dissatisfaction in terms of who didn't get anything and who didn't go anywhere. And those who are appointed appoint from their own clusters, and so on and so on. So we will never get a national, a face of Kenya. And that's what we keep saying. Look at any government since. We cannot find a face of Kenya, literally. It is who worked with us, or which groups worked with us, who get appointed, and so on. So we have really started very badly, and that's what's going to happen in 2027. Now, we have no prefect, we have no supervisor who will say to us, don't do that, because we are already in it, and we don't have anybody who will say, let's not go that way. It's a formula that works, to the end that you get elected, not to the end that you actually found a nation or you establish a nation. It's just, how do we win this thing? So that's the formula, and especially now that campaigns are on full time. You can see everybody saying we'll block off that side, we'll block off that side, block off that side. How do we then build a nation? How do we build a democracy, as it were? Are we borrowing from ourselves? Is it homegrown? Or is it that we are beginning to borrow bad behavior from elsewhere? I think so. We do have a problem, and unless we start looking at this country as a nation, we will never solve our problems. After every election, we will have issues that, again, will lead to what has been very common in this country, a very imbalanced way of running the country. And so I do believe that we are the country that the world is watching, that the region is watching. They believe that Kenya is such a democracy. Kenya has what it takes, and so we just need the leader that can come and say, we want to build on that. I don't want to go into the past, but there were times when this country set an example. We just mentioned it, 2002, and even after 2007, 2008, set up a very good example. Except for those clashes, the way the economy was run gave us an example that it can be done. Kenya can actually become the example for the region. The region is lacking in good democracy, as defined by our constitution. Yeah.
What does good democracy look like? I think from both of you, we'll start with you though.
Yeah.
What does good democracy look like? And then we can say, okay, well, this is a unifier for a nation state. Under the previous imagination, that democracy meant that the people's voice, first of all, would be the collective authority. But beyond that, what does it look like?
It's what you define for yourselves in your constitution and in practice. And in our founding fathers, when we've got our independence, there are certain things we set out to achieve for ourselves. And the spirit that came that time was the spirit of Harambee. And it means we cared for each other. We worked together to build a nation, and a young nation. And we kept doing that until we corrupted the Harambee itself. It lost its meaning, and we started using it for other things. Then 2010, the 2010 Constitution gives the power, as you say, to the people, the citizens themselves. So we give this Constitution to ourselves, and we define democracy in there. We define what Kenya is. Kenya is. Every time we have a Constitution, we define who we are. In the 60s, 70s, there was a thing called one-party state, de facto, de jure, and then now we became a multi-party state. That's what it should be, a multi-party state. That means it's not enmity about who is in this party or that party. We should collectively have a role. If you are the ruling party, you have a role. But if you're not in the ruling party, you have a role as well. Because you're supposed to maintain the balances and keep everybody in the political system. And so that's what it is. And I'm very opposed to this situation where we find ourselves wanting to form one party. Go back to the one-party system. Be lethargic to opposing parties and other parties, and make it look like those are the enemies, and so on. So I do believe the democracy is a true democracy. It's in your culture, it's in your language, it's in your spirit of collective responsibility, of caring for each other, of citizenry that is who understands that I am a Pokot, but I am a Kenyan.
Yeah.
You know, I am an African, and all those things need to come together, and so power is not in the hands of a few. Power is in the people, and those people should be able to remove you. You know, I mean, those people should be able to remove you either directly or through their representatives, but they should be able to remove you or put you in power. But now, the way we've learned our bad manners is that we'll stop anybody who is trying to come in before, you know, like now we're saying, how do we remove the government of the day? And they're saying there's no way, you can't. But that's competition, which must be a healthy competition. You see, the united opposition right now, united, or I don't know whether they are yet united, but that's the name it's going to. The united opposition right now is their duty is to try and remove the current government. The current government, their duty is to stay strong, stay there, and trying to stop this other. But let's do it in a very democratic way. It's not a fight. It's not. You know, these ideas of people being harassed, arrested, and things. Those should not happen. You should allow democracy to flow, as people have learned. And Kenyans have become so free now that it's difficult to stop them. You know, it's so difficult to harass them. But that's what I think democracy is. True democracy is.
Bonakira, even as you add up on what democracy looks like, the Constitution speaks of we the people. The power belongs to the people. And with that then, and further explanation within the Constitution on how we will play our politics, how our diversity makes us Kenyans, have we understood the power the Constitution gives to the people to a point where we respect the people and just allow things to work?
Well, I think we still so many notches down the scale. Without going for the dictionary definition of democracy, the most central thing is centered on the people. And that centering on the people means that you must read the Constitution in totality. That even if you are the chief executive of the nation, or a certain county, like our governors, you must also realize that that power emanates from the people. And you must allow other institutions within the Constitution that have certain defined power. What do I have in mind? We must allow the executive to exist as is, but in its existence, it must also respect other institutions like the judiciary, the legislature, and constitutional offices like Judicial Service Commission, Public Service Commission, Parliamentary Service Commission, and other constitutional offices, so that we coexist, because it is wrong for anybody to imagine that having certain exposure to education gives you the ultimate authority to do anything. And that's why, without really belaboring the point, at times I find those in power almost reminding us that, you know, I am this. If you believe you are, then you should not remind us, because you know you are. And therefore, anything that you are reminding us is that you are doubting yourself, whether you are what you are saying you are. This is something that I've seen, I've witnessed, especially in the recent past. Without looking like I'm beholden to the late Mwai Kibaki, he hardly said I. He used the word we. We are going to do that. That is the right thing to do. He hardly used the word I. And at times I used to feel that, why is he not being authoritative? Why is he talking about we in a way that it looks like this is loose coalition of individuals who have the same power? But I now understand him better than I understood him at that time. That there is nothing you can ascribe to yourself, that I've employed 100,000 teachers. Who are you? Have you employed, or the taxpayers employed? Because the economy has expanded. The number of schools have expanded. I remember when we were doing our Form 4 exams, we were about 6,000. Those who did those exams at that particular time in the 80s. But today, those who are doing exams run into millions. And therefore means you have to move from the number of teachers that we had at that time, be it for primary, be it for secondary, to the number that is commensurate with the demands of the time. Number two, even the economy, the budget that Mzee Moi left was about 240 billion. Today we are talking of a budget of trillions. This therefore means with that expanded economy, then you must expand certain services due to the people. And that economy is not expanding from somebody's farm.
Indeed.
It is out of the sacrifices that we incur as Kenyans, that yes, we are giving you a larger piece of a cake, therefore you must give us services commensurate with that particular understanding. Therefore, the word "I" is something that I find offensive. I find it offensive in the sense that somebody wants to look like is the one who is doling to us certain niceties, as if he controls the atmosphere or the air. So my worry, that is my main worry, and it is my main concern, that I just hope whoever takes over from the current regime is going to be cognizant of the fact that nobody can exist on this space without the support of others.
Let's take a break and we're going to come back and then ask that question, because the assumption from this conversation so far is that there will be a change of guard come the next general election, and that is it necessary to have that based on what we're seeing today. We're already seeing that there's certain clashes in different parts of the country where this may not be brought out into the fore, but it actually is happening. We'll come back and continue with this conversation. Samuel Pogishio and Kipruto Arab Kira with us this morning as we have this democratic accountability and folding spaces conversation. We'll be back after this. Don't go away.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Traffic.
Traffic update brought to you by Chloride Exide.
It indeed is a busy Monday morning, and we're looking at some traffic then still coming off of the Thika Superhighway, finding its way into the city. Bumper to bumper action all the way through towards the Pangani Underpass and then out towards the Globe Cinema Roundabout. That is very, very busy. It's also busy coming off of Limuru Road today, and that's traffic that comes in all the way from the Red Hill Link Road, crosses over through Kikiri and then out towards Limuru Road and then finding its way into the city. All of this has come off of James Gishoro crossing over Waiyaki Way, and inbound traffic from that whole area coming in from Zima Springs and also from Riverside on the other side and then out through Raptor Road. That's busy this morning. And also as we look at Ngong Road coming into the city, Naivasha Road connecting with Riara Road and Ngong Road itself, busy traffic then heading out towards town. And as you come off of Mombasa Road and get towards Uhuru Highway, Aerodrome Road will give traffic through towards Haile Selassie as you cross over Uhuru Highway. So we are in traffic hour, folks. Let's see how it opens up. Talk to us about where you might be stuck or where you find a good route. Let's share this morning. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Traffic update was brought to you by Chloride Exide. Wherever the road takes you these days, stay powered by Chloride Exide. Get total peace of mind on the highway with the premium Exide battery range backed by a rock-solid 18-month manufacturer's warranty. Chloride Exide. Inside from Chloride Exide.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Our conversation continues this hour now at 22 minutes to 8 o'clock. And we are in the Situation Room with Samuel Pogisho as well as Kipruto Arab Kiwa this morning. The state of democracy cannot be questioned, but we seem to be coming from the premise that there will be a change of guard come 2027. And it seems like you're unequivocal about that. Now, if we ask that question, what has gone wrong? Because usually when you say that something needs to be changed, something has gone wrong, something has gone bad, you need to toss it out completely and get something else. What is wrong, if we can truly say, because I hear us talking about one term, two term, like Sam Pogisho has said, but are we really looking at the core of the issue? What has gone wrong at the core that requires change?
Myself?
Yes, please.
Yeah, the most important thing is that there is what you call emasculation of institutions and centering on the presidency as if that is the exclusive institution that does exist in Kenya. The little I know is that there are many other institutions that are supposed to be self-checking. Today, the presidency has become like is the ultimate authority. You will not be able to, even in military regimes, there is some semblance of order, like what you see in Burkina Faso, like what we saw in Nigeria when Murtala Muhammad became president. Before he was killed, there was order that everybody was doing the right thing because they knew any exceeding of the powers that were given by that office will meet with certain remedial measures from the authorities of the day. Today, as long as you're on the side of the regime that is in power today, you can do anything. You can say anything. You realize being taken to court on a piece of land that is yours, but the title has changed, and you are accused of having duplicate kind of title, when your title is actually the original title pertaining to that particular parcel of land. So when institutions are destroyed, that is when order misses in society. The second issue is if there is an office that must be trusted by all Kenyans, it's the office of the president. Because they say presidency is some kind of unifying factor to all Kenyans. No Kenyan should feel I'm not in power because I did not vote for the person who is the president. Because as once in a while he says, even those who did not vote for him are his people. But the practice is different. The kind of things that are being done are different from what is expected. And therefore, if that office is not trusted, then our unity in jeopardy. The third issue that we feel should be done, and I say it now and I will say it again, is public resources must be respected. There must be clear separation of public resources from personal resources. And that is what we call abuse of office. We strongly believe that whoever takes over this country must understand that whatever is yours is to the extent of what you earn as a salary. Otherwise, the rest of the resources are not yours. I've said, and I say it again, that even in America, the president, unless it is a public function that requires, like say, State of the Nation, the Union Address, anything funding, whether it's a party in State House, that bill will go to the president. And from the salaries that he gets, he has to fund that directly. Now, you hear State House is taking 17 billion. Whatever they have been doing, I don't know. Then you hear there are 10,000 teachers who have come, and each one of them is given 10,000. That is effectively 100 million. Is that from his salary? Or is it money that is supposed to be for the state that now has been appropriated into individuals' campaign rally? Because 10,000 people is basically a rally. And you cannot pretend that you have all that money, whether you have 50,000 chicken. It's not enough to fund that kind of level.
Bonapogishu, I want to ask a question and maybe topple this whole democratic conversation. That can we actually operate in a democracy? Because if we're looking at the very fundamental tenets of democracy, what it is that the people's voice or the people will rule. But we have seen very clearly, especially on the African continent, that not that people cannot rule, but that the individuals in the minority have refused to be subservient to the people's voice. And that we have glaring examples of when somebody took a direct position of leadership and things moved. Bonakira has already given one example this morning of Burkina Faso. Let's look to the southern part of the continent where Namibia has, as of 2025, early 2026, paid off its foreign debt. Namibia owes $0 in terms of foreign debt. Now, that could have been a situation where somebody says, I'm working for myself, or I'm tired of this donkey or of this camel on my back, monkey on my back rather, and let's get this thing moving for the people. Point me in the direction of another country at the moment whereby democracy in Africa is actually working. That is it time that we started to say, you know what, this democracy thing, as good as it sounds, is good in our heads, but in terms of practice, it doesn't work.
And so that's you've actually talked about it. You finished. let me just add something to that. Our situation is usually made even more corrupt during our elections. Our elections are the thing that starts off the laws of democracy. It is during our elections. We've made our elections very expensive. We make our elections money-based, and so we allow people, therefore, to look for those resources for elections in ways that are not normal ways. They have to find money somewhere. And so even when the government prepares itself for election, they have to find themselves, they have to find the money somewhere. And that's normally what's left. Do you know what has become very, very amazing is that if you look at the money spent at elections, if you are to collect that money at the end of the elections, it would run the country for some time. And we've just spent it on elections. So that's where we go wrong. That's where our problems, our clashes come from, and that's where bad governance begins. And we therefore enter into governance with a lot of personal debts, clashes, all those kind of things. You've given examples of African countries being tired of the Western democracy as we know it, and wanting therefore to see if they can test other forms of leadership or governance. And one of the examples that we have seen, when in let's even go back, 1971, when Idi Amin came to Uganda, the Ugandans celebrated. They thought they were going to be freed at that particular time. When Museveni came to power, there was a big celebration because you are changing hands. Doesn't mean you're actually changing the way that the governance goes back to the people. No. And so we are removing the people from our governance more and more, distancing ourselves from the people. And that is why democracy has not been successful, because we have no way of bringing people closer. The ruling class lifts themselves up and stay in the sky and leave the people down. And so that's why we come back to say, I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to do that for you, I'm going to do that for you, because that's what we have done. We've classified ourselves as us versus them, instead of really saying we are them, or we are us, whatever it is. So you remember the famous statement that said that we've seen the enemy and it's us. It's really, that's what has become of our democracy. We have destroyed that basic tenet that we are servants of the people. We are actually employed by these people. Even if you are the president of the country, you're actually employed by these people. These are the people who keep you in office, who keep your family in office, and so on, so on. So I do sometimes think you don't have to have a military coup. You don't have to go that way to be able to enjoy effective leadership. You know, when people get completely tired of a situation, and there comes a person, one person, like when Kibaki came on board, who could just, without being noisy about it, change the country, change the economy, and people began to feel what democracy is all about during that period. Now it's the same thing. So if you look at what has happened in Namibia, Namibia is not a military thing. A lady came, she came with a purpose. She had seen all in the UN where she worked and all those. She knew exactly why she was going to be elected. So sometimes I do want to know if you just want to be in power, or do you know and do you have a purpose why you want to go there? Otherwise, we will have to waste time. So changing of guard is not the thing that we want. We must be there must be a change. It's not just for the sake of it. We must have a change of guard that's going to turn our lives around. That's going to bring us to the authority of the people, bring back the people from down to the place where they belong as the sovereign part of our country. That is what democracy should be. And so we have now got the class system, where we bring ourselves into a class struggle. You know, we are now raising a few millionaires, billionaires in this country, who now form their own class and living out other people, and that is. It depends on why you've come to power. If you've come to power to make sure that your friends are rich, you've come to power to make sure that you call yourself successful, then you have the wrong thing altogether. You're supposed to come to power to make the people successful, to make the people come from. I mean, the ideas. Some of the ideas that we see the government has, the idea is there. I mean, the idea is there. Just implement it. The ideas are there. When I look at the idea that people are going to have subsidized fertilizer so that we can grow food, the idea is good. But now, how do you make that idea the idea of the people? Yeah. And then you have free education, mechanisms, whatever, affordable housing. Those ideas are good. But now, how do you bring the people into those ideas? How do you bring the people who own those ideas? And I think unless we begin to watch some of those things, the level of dissatisfaction in the country can rise to a place where people will prefer any other means of changing the guard. And that's not what we want for this country. So Namibia did not do it militarily. and we're giving a good example of even Ethiopia here. Ethiopia here also, people were determined to pay their debts and remain independent, be able to grow their own resources and so on. And then there are those of us who are still marching in that direction, but it's becoming slow for us to go. So I do hope that the idea of sovereignty of the people can be brought back to our country, and let our people begin to feel that they are not far from the leadership. The leadership should embrace people, bring them up to speed, so that we don't have people who are begging, people who are poor, who need real food, and we cannot provide. Yeah. Our priorities need to be on the people themselves.
Yeah. But Akira, and bringing the people to leadership, to be part of government, one would say is well stipulated in the law through public participation, where people get to speak to government on their aspirations so that you carry them with them and you implement that which the people have prescribed upon themselves. This is that opportunity where one would say that the patient has prescribed the medicine to themselves which they think would work, right? But we see that even that opportunity that the Constitution has given the leadership of the country to take advantage of, to bring people on board, has not been looked at as perhaps the medicine that is there. That it is always about what I want, I will shove it down your throat, and you have to take it because I have said so. And one would then ask the question, as we continue with this political chess game that we see today, and segregation and splitting of people along the ethnic lines, can one then get to power after those fault lines have been crossed and say that, and convince those that he alienated during the campaign period, even when they formed government, that then I can bring everybody together? If from the word go, you split people, what does that do to the peace, to the unity of a country that should march together?
Well, there are a number of things that happen, but the most important activity in leadership is the capacity to listen. Mm-hmm. And when you are listening, you must listen keenly and interpret the aspirations of the people in a way that you move in the direction they wish. But the ability to listen is very scanty to many leaders, including our president. He does believe that because he has reached a certain level of education, therefore the rest will not aspire to that level. And you know, as you progress, When you are in primary, you do more than 10 units. Yes. When you go to secondary, the number is reduced. When we used to have from 5 and 6, you could take about 5 subjects. A general paper, subsidiary maths, and other principle. Then at the university, you reduce. Just like that. So at the level of PhD, it's actually a narrow area of research. And I just want to remind him that the more you research, the more you aspire. Because even there is post-PhD, what they call postdoctoral level of education. As you go that, you specialize in a narrow area. Like for him, he was dealing with some animal called sitatunga and land degradation in my former constituency, or my constituency, because I still live there. And this therefore means he knows a lot about sitatunga. But we are not sitatungas. We are human beings who have a free will given by God, not even by the constitution. So the most important thing in a country, even the countries that we've mentioned, Namibia, Burkina Faso, even during the days of the late Thomas Sankara, and even to a certain extent, I see the young man in Botswana trying his best. But at times he overtalks, and I get worried about such people. So my worry is that it takes one person to bring sanity to a nation. Because Kibaki 1, we are operating at 96% our own revenue collections. 94, and only 6% came from other countries. And we rolled out free primary education and the stimulus because we believed the more you take money to the people, the more you allow that money to be in circulation. And also money started going to the banks because initially a lot of money was staying in mattresses because there was a bit of corruption. But when it is your money, that's why you and I, Dennis, we are crying. There's no money. Because whoever owes me or owes you takes long to pay you. And therefore that money is trapped somewhere because it's not genuine money. Because if it was genuine, it would have gone through the bank. And therefore there would be money in circulation. Now, the most important thing is not even the cabinet. If I was to be president today, I will inherit the same cabinet and allow cabinet ministers to work. And there will be a lot of difference. What am I saying? The fish starts rotting from the top, from the head. And this therefore means change of leadership will start with the president himself.
So if you see something not going right in the country, or many things, or whatever the case may be, and if there has to be constant pushback, like what Kenya is currently facing at the moment, where the president of the nation has to answer people. When people say, why are you always traveling? And he says, well, they're my legs, not yours, and I can do what I wish with them. And all I've come to do is change my shirt, and I shall be back on a plane to go back again. So when you see that kind of answering back and forth, and if you say that if you would use the same cabinet, because the fish starts rotting from the head, then is the response to change the head?
Yeah, you change whatever is rotten. Yeah, whatever has gotten rotten, you change that. And you inherit the same people. I know there are many good ministers. Today I would not even change half of them if I was to be president. I would run with them for about 1 year and see those who will fall by the wayside.
So you're saying that folks who are not working today are not working because of the influence from or lack of the chance to actually get things done because of the influence from the top?
Yes, that is it. Let me give you a simple example. Under the constitution, the constitution that I operated with as minister, many parastatals, the chairmen were appointed by the president. The CEO went through certain interview, and you are given 3 names for you to use your discretion, and you are not bound to say number 1 must be appointed, even number 3. The 3 names you are given that discretion. All the directors or board members, that was the purview of the minister. Today you hear ministers saying, so-and-so is a director in my parastatal, but I don't know how he came in. Only to be told he came from State House. In fact, at times I feel government printing machine, the government printer, should be in State House because they seem to operate at will. Remember, they were printing some documents at midnight during the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua. Now, the most important thing is, the point I wanted to make is, if it is Parastato A, State House or OP will ask you for 2 names. So and so and so and so. Then the president will pick one of them. This therefore means you are given that freedom, that even if it is the appointment is done by the president, but you are given 2 names, so that you have confidence that you are running a ministry that people respect you. And if you feel a chairman of a certain institution is not doing well, you give your recommendation to the president, and the president would say it's okay. That person would be removed and somebody else will be put there. So that when you are a minister, you are a minister. But today, many of these ministers cannot say anything. Remember the former Minister for Education. What was the name?
Which one?
Machogu.
Okay.
He had to wait up to midnight to say schools are not on tomorrow.
Yeah.
When some people from Busia had traveled all the way. When they're in the streets, they are told, no, there's no school tomorrow because of 1, 2, 3. Why? He was looking for authority from the president to do that for the whole week from Thursday up to Sunday. So it tells you nothing moves unless Ruto is in town.
Yeah.
Time doesn't allow us to go beyond that because, I mean, it's very clear from both of your assertions today that the change needs to come.
Yes.
Kipruto Arab Kira, former minister, as well as Sam Pogisho, former majority Senate leader, as well as minister, has been with us this morning. Thank you. From the end of this conversation, it seems that from both of you, there needs to be a change, and that change needs to be at the top.
Yeah.
Thank you both for joining us in the Situation Room this morning. Looking forward to more conversations. Good morning, everybody. It's 8 a.m.
Thank you.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the news. I'm Sheila Timbor. The government has intensified its crackdown on hate speech and political violence, warning that those found inciting the public will face legal action. The National Cohesion and Integration Commission says it will begin publishing the names of political leaders engaging in hate speech and divisive rhetoric. NCIC Chairperson Kefa Omai said investigations are underway and offenders will be prosecuted regardless of their political affiliation. Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi said the government will not protect anyone linked to violence or the sponsorship of criminal gangs.
The laws are going to take their full course. And this one, irrespective of the political affiliation, we will take decisive action by investigating so that we have the facts and work with other agencies. We have the multi-sectoral agencies.
We are very clear that any act of lawlessness or impunity must be handled in accordance with the law. So the question of whether there is somebody in government, the answer is no.
Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen also vowed to stamp out political violence, saying the government will deal firmly with those behind Gonism.
Tumepambana na bandits mpaka wakatoa bunduki. Tunapambana na mambo ya Al-Shabaab kwa nchi yetu. Tumepambana na wakora. Goons cannot bring problems in our country.
Retired President Uhuru Kenyatta has come under fresh criticism from ODM leaders who accuse him of fueling divisions within the party through the Linda Mwananchi faction. Speaking in Busia County, the leaders ruled out any political cooperation with Kenyatta, arguing that he failed to help Raila Odinga secure their presidency. Here is National Assembly Minority Leader Junet Mohamed.
Kila mtu anatafuta yake ya ukubwa. Tusidanganyane. Na hakuna pahali katiba imeandika ya Kenya ya kwamba chama ya ODM ibaki kwa upinzani paka Yesu arudi. Iko pahali imeandikwa? Ati sisi ni watu kungoja Yesu arudi tuko opposition. Lazima chama, all political parties zinakuwa formed to capture political power. Sisi pia tupambane na watu wengine ambaye wamekaa kwa mamlaka. Wacha nitaka kurudisha sisi kwa Uhuru Kenyatta. Na yule mtu anagawa ODM, anatoa hii pesa yote ya ODM, ya kugawa ODM ni Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Wacha niseme ukweli. Mimi naenda kulala kwangu nyumbani. Siendi kulala kwa mtu.
ODM National Chairperson Gladys Wanga reaffirmed the party's commitment to remaining in the broad-based government.
Sisi kama chama cha chungwa, we have been on a journey. Tumekuwa kwa safari ya kwenda Canaan. Na kuambia tumenyeshewa kwa hiyo safari, tumepigwa vumbi kwa hiyo safari. Watu wamekufa kwa hiyo safari, watu wamevunjwa miguu kwa hiyo safari. People have wounds and scars from that journey. Na sasa hii pia tuko safari ya kwenda Singapore. Lakini lazima tupikie Canaan. Lazima tuone Canaan na macho. Kwa sababu baba alisema tuende Canaan, hata tukienda Singapore, lazima tupikitie Canaan tukienda Singapore.
Meanwhile, Kakamega Governor Fernandez Barasa urged residents of the Western region to register as voters, while ODM Deputy Party Leader Simba Arati assured members that the party's upcoming nominations will be free and fair.
Nataka kuambia vijana wetu tujisajili kuwa wapiga kura. Kakamega tumeamua we are going to register 1.5 million people. Bungoma tumewapatia target ya 1.2. Hapa Busia target ya 800,000. Mkoa wa Magharibi kwa ujumla itakuwa na 4 million registered voters.
Tutaweka katika nomination. I can promise you, nomination yetu itakuwa free and fair. As long as we are in power, we'll make sure kwamba is free and fair. Mambo ya 2 term na 1 term. Wewe kama ni mtu wa 1 term, tafadhali unakaa kwa mkutano yako. Ukiwacha sisi tukiwa 2 term na sisi tunajivunia katika mkutano yetu.
The National Transport and Safety Authority has clarified that private motorists will not face immediate enforcement of the new mandatory vehicle inspection rules. In a statement, the authority says traffic police have been directed not to demand proof of inspection during roadside checks, with the enforcement date to be announced later. NTSA also says school transport and commercial vehicle operators will not be penalized for failing to install certain new safety equipment, including telematic systems and stop signal arms, until further notice. The clarification follows concerns over the rollout of the new regulations. NTSA has urged the public to rely on information shared through its official communication channels. And that's the news. I'm Sheila Tembur.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
He himself actually has admitted that he bribed members of parliament,
he admitted that he bribed members of parliament?
Well, when he said
the government,
when he said that he gave the 10 million was for what?
We're always quick to point faults in somebody else before you look at your own faults as a person.
If it was Kanu's day, hii amuka naye leo ungekuwa umeenda bali sana hii. So we must celebrate you.
There are 600 million people now globally estimated to be living with diabetes in the world. So it is a major health problem. It's the largest single disease rising pandemic that we're dealing with right now.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
I am also a publicly elected official. Okay. My salary is paid by your taxes.
Yes.
So if you need me to answer questions, we will not run away from you.
Asante.
We will always be here.
The government itself is engaging in corrupt practices. That the government itself deliberately schemes to influence through bribery members of parliament.
You pay for a passport online. Alafu you're told there are no booklets.
I rebuke matters corruption, because corruption has brought this country to its knees.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 8 minutes after 8 o'clock, and a very good morning to you this Monday, the 29th of June, 2026. And this is the Situation Room, getting into our second hour of conversation this morning. Very lovely to have you here as we look into the state of the nation in a minute. And this one I think you want to be here for, because it doesn't hold back and it doesn't tame his tongue when it comes to proper and right behavior. So we're going to get into a conversation very shortly and look into the state of the nation as we normally would on a Monday morning, and let you know how we will be having that conversation in just a short while. And our live streams are up on YouTube, Facebook, and on X. And thank you to our audience on KTN who continues to be here with us, and folks getting on to their business this week. It'll be a busy one as kids go back to school, but we'll talk anyway. All right, before we do that, you're powering us through the week with Chloride Exide.
You see, when you think about 1963, what comes to your mind? The nation Kenya, right?
Yes.
But there is one more thing that you need to remember, that Chloride Exide as well was born in 1963.
How about that?
And it has been powering the nation, moving presidents from point A to point B, moving the trucks, moving a product from point A to point B. One would say that is the epitome of what has built Kenya over the years. But that notwithstanding, they're now telling you, in the modern day era where we find our vehicles being computers on wheels, you need the right battery for your vehicle. Why do we say that? Because nowadays we have a lot that comes with these vehicles. So you have your massage seats, you have your heated and cooled seats, you have a tailgate that is automatic, you have automatic suspension, you know, that is controlled by the button. You are from having your shopping, you need to put it at the back of your vehicle, and you need to also just open it by swiping your feet under the hood, right? And it opens up. So you need the right vehicle. You need the right battery for the right vehicle. Chloride Exide is telling you, we have it for you. And it's not only just the battery, it comes with 18 months warranty so that you can continue driving, enjoy everything that your vehicle has to offer, because they can stand behind the quality of the product. 1963, over 60 years in the game. What else do you want?
I don't know what else you would be looking for, but definitely looks like Chloride Exide is the way you want to go. Sindio? All right. Patrick Loch Otieno Lumumba is here with us this morning. He's an advocate of the High Court of Kenya and Tanganyika and joins us in the Situation Room this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Very well.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Thank you very much for being here with us this morning. We're looking into the state of the nation, and it's interesting because we sit here in the mornings and we look at how things are unfolding, and there are people in our audiences who sometimes joke and they say we're going to need a little bit of something, a bit of a libation or two to then be able to allow us to get through it, and then to say that at the spot where things are at the moment, how can we actually get through it? And that's what we're talking about this morning. But before we do, Dennis takes us to Lesotho this week. We'd love to hear your interpretation of this.
Basuto land, also known as the kingdom in the sky. Why? Because it is the only country in the world that is 1,000 meters above the sea level. One thing that stands out is the hut that they do have, which also is seen in their flag, and also the blanket. Why? Because if you want to enjoy winter, the snow and everything, you don't need to leave the continent. Go to Lesotho, you will enjoy it there. They're also rich in diamond, and that continues to push the country's economy. But the proverb that Basotho are telling us today, one who wants everything ends up with nothing. How would you interpret it?
Absolutely. If you are like the hyena before you and you want everything, you lose everything, and you've got to focus. And that proverb actually was given prominent by King Moshoeshoe to tell his people, we have to be focused. It is in focus that you get what you need and deserve. So it's a warning to the greedy.
Well said. Well, yeah.
Indeed.
Interpreted. Santi.
As we're looking into the state of the nation, one of the easiest things to do, PLO, is to lament. Misery loves company, where we can sit and talk about how things are going so terribly bad. And then we can say, well, we're going to shake it off and remove the sackcloth and then, come back and be happy. But one of the ways towards making sure that things are right is to look at how bad they've gone so that you can understand that you should never go back here again. Now, when you look at the state of the nation and the things that are happening in the country at the moment, is this normal? A year before an election where things need to be in a state of toss-up in order for you to say, well, okay, let's land this by virtue of the vote. So are all of these things normal, as some people would say that it's normal for Kenya to go through the throes that it's currently going through?
First of all, let us remember that we can never stop agonizing. It is in agonization that you organize. And not everything that is designed to save the nation is in the public domain. I know clergy, I know Kenyans of goodwill who behind the scenes try to make this nation better. And we've been around. The nation is not at ease. The politicians in this administration will tell you we are doing very well. We have the biggest economy in East Africa. We are middle-level economy. That is balderdash. The reality is that this country is on tenterhooks, and you can see all the signs. You can see the rhetoric from the politicians. We are recoiling into our ethnic cocoons. We are telling other Kenyans that they belong elsewhere. You can see the vitriol and the anger that characterizes how we do things. You can see the politicians who are being celebrated as mobilizers, and these are the ones who have something called goons that they operate. And if there was any doubt in my mind that this country is not on the right trajectory, is the incident that took place on the day of the budget at the All Saints Cathedral, where captured on CCTV, repeated on national television, individuals are arrested, and we are told by no lesser person than the provost of the All Saints Cathedral that he was informed that they were released, and those whose funds had been stolen were compensated. Who compensated them? I have since, on the 24th day of June, wrote to the Archbishop of the Anglican Church, Archbishop Ole Sapet, because he said the IG of police must resign. And I've told him, don't stop there, because this is how nations degenerate. So that when you look at research, and there is extant research that now tells us that there are over 200 ginger groups in the Republic of Kenya. Some we know, Chinkororo. And my good friend George Kegoro wrote about Chinkororo in his master's thesis at the University of Nairobi in the year 2009. Amachuma. We know about Angola Msumbiji. We know about Mungiki. We know about the Men in Black. It all started with Youth for KANU 92 in 1992. These ginger groups. And they have now acquired a life of their own. And let me tell you, the tragedy of our country, which makes me sad, is that there is now a crop of individuals in Kenya across the political divide, in government and in opposition, who believe that they are above the law. They believe that they operate outside of the law. They believe that they cannot be arrested, because if you arrest them, their ethnic group will rise in their defense. When a country finds ourselves in such a situation, and I'm in the business of writing. This is one of my civic duties. I wrote to the National Cohesion Chairman, my good friend Bishop Omai, immediately upon his appointment, and I told him and gave him names of people who in mother tongue are using vitriolic language. He has responded to me, to his credit. I wrote to the IEBC telling them that the law is very clear on when the elections will be held on Tuesday, the 10th day of August, the year 2027. The law does not allow anybody to engage in any campaign. And when you drive across the country, I was in Meru over the weekend, and as I drove, there are billboards everywhere. In Nairobi, there are billboards everywhere. You drive across the country, there are billboards everywhere. Everybody is campaigning 1 year in advance of the elections, and you can see the drums of war being beaten in the very same way that they were in the elections in the year 2007. We hear politicians saying, if our candidate, the president, does not get enough votes, then we are going to ensure that we add more votes. This is how nations degenerate. This is how it happened in Haiti with Francois Duvalier, with Tonton Macoute, when he formed ginger groups which were abducting people, and the forces that are enjoined by the law to do what is good and right were looking the other way. When people are supposed to be sent to jail, they only receive a slap on the wrist.
Some might say you're being alarmist, PLO.
Yes, this is the time to actually warn Kenya. We must not imagine for one moment that this country is immune. We have seen how countries just break down. This same kind of language was being spoken in Sudan. Now go and look at Sudan. It is non-functional. Let them go to Eastern Congo. Let them think about what happened in Somalia. Let them know what happened in Central African Republic. Today, we wake up and we are told that young people were abducted by who? And we are not told who abducted them. We are told that carjackings are happening by who? We are told that the country is dealing with the issue, but we don't see the evidence. We ought to be alarmed. Every Kenyan of goodwill must not sit pretty and believe that things are right. I listen to people who are politicians, who are cabinet ministers, saying that they don't like a particular ethnic group. How can you in good conscience say that you don't like a particular ethnic group because of an individual, a miscreant in that particular ethnic group? Is this not what they did in Rwanda in 1994 against the Tutsi, and it led to the genocide? The message is, this country ought to retreat. This is a good country, but no more than 5,000 individuals who now think that they are demigods are leading us in the wrong direction. The ballot no longer carries the magic of giving us the men and women that we deserve. But we can still sanitize the budget, the ballot. We can sanitize the ballot through education, talking to the people. There are Kenyans of goodwill who are trying to do that. My friend Okia Omutata tries to do that using the court system. But we don't acknowledge that. We acknowledge those who have goons.
PLO, we find ourselves in, I say, a very sad place. Why do I say that? Because we have taken absence of violence to mean peace. Yet peace is something that should be consumed, and we should see that being exercised by each and every single individual. It can't be that today, when Kenyans are exercising their right to demonstrate, there is that incident that happened in Nakuru, where a disabled man who cannot outrun the police was picked up and mistreated. And the statement that came from the police while calling that out said that the arrest of that individual might, use the word might, have gone against the police protocols. The word there is not might. It did go against the police protocols. That notwithstanding, he was exercising his right to demonstrate. We look at Davis Lichuma, who was abducted on Thursday. He's just been released. He's in hospital accessing treatment. And every other person who was arrested and was beaten up, they were tortured before they were released. One asks the question, where we live and sit today as a country, why is it that there is a minority who think that the law, the constitution that they swore to protect and uphold, is just a piece of paper?
You know, my former teacher, may rest in peace, the late Hastings Opinyoko Thugendo, in 1972, wrote an article, Constitutions Without Constitutionalism. You can have a constitution, and I've heard people say we have the best constitution, but best is about applying this. This is a country that has no shortage of institutions and laws. We have the ombudsman, whose duty is to ensure that public servants and public institutions conduct themselves in the best interest of the people. We have the national cohesion, which is designed to ensure that we in our diversity live in harmony. We have the Kenya Human Rights Commission. We have the laws, but yet what you say is right. We changed the name of the police force, which was a colonial relic, into a police service, so that the police could be a service. But I've seen and heard with my own eyes a senior politician at a public rally saying, have been allotted people to take to the police force. In other words, we now have a country where if you are a public official, you are a senator, you are a member of parliament, then you are given slots to bring in your own people into the force. When merit dies, it manifests itself in several ways. And this is what, unfortunately, we are beginning to see in the Republic of Kenya. On the 25th of June, I deliberately decided to drive around town. And it was barricaded. And I, on a number of occasions, negotiated with the police and said, you are stopping people. What you ought to have done, if I were there without being an expert, was to deploy the General Service Unit into the city of Nairobi and ensure that we all go to work, or allow us to go to work, and any errant individual would then be dealt with firmly and in accordance with the law. On that day, I can guarantee you the business communities lost nothing less than 3 billion Kenya shillings. International transactions that ought to have taken place through our banking system did not take place, and many other people. And yet we are proceeding as if all is normal. I can't agree with you more that the mere fact that there is calm does not mean that there is a tornado which is breeding. And the discontent of people, Kenyans are very angry. And you see it when you are driving. Kenyans are angry. You see it when you hoot at a person who is crossing the road. They are angry. This anger is a product of certain kind of discontentment. And we've got to deal with it. And unfortunately, the political class are only interested in what I call a theater of the absurd. That is why they hold these political rallies. I asked one of them, who is my friend, okay, you've held a political rally during the week and is attended by 10,000. Does it not worry you that these people are not working? You say the rally is successful. It's a weekday. Are they not working? And then you give them 200 shillings each. You should be worried. But they are not worried because their egos are so large. They are not worried because their interest is to acquire political office. And why is political office so important in Kenya? I've said it and I'm repeating it. If you want to be wealthy without effort or with minimal effort, become a parliamentarian in Kenya. Then become an MCA in Kenya, acquire political office. Suddenly, within months, you can build a mansion which even if you worked for 100 years, you'd never afford. And the young people therefore look at this and say, well, this is the route. I was asking myself yesterday, when I was thinking about the budget and noting that almost half of parliamentarians did not attend, and I said, shouldn't we make representation part-time? Indeed, are they not part-time? Because the lawyers who are politicians continue to practice. The engineers who are politicians continue to practice. Should we make it part-time so that they are only entitled to an allowance when they do a sitting? Make politics unattractive. Then it will attract those who truly want to serve. That is what those are some of the things that run in my mind, and I dare say the minds of many Kenyans of goodwill.
And you see, PLO, you're not wrong in thinking like that, because the other day I was with a taxi driver and we were behind a Passat, and that gentleman said, Kibaki got it right by scaling down on what cabinet secretaries are driving. Why? Because it is cheap, it is affordable, it is easy to fuel, and if that was the ceiling that cabinet secretaries would drive, then it would also inform the government in terms of even loans that they're giving to members of parliament. It will be the price of a Passat. Right now, we're giving members of parliament 5 million shillings plus. Maybe we would have given them 1.5 million bob and the rest left for Wananchi to use. But that we changed all that because there are those who are superior, who are demigods and only think about themselves. Yet, if you look at the constitution, power belongs to the people. That those in office today are there because people have donated that power to them. PLO, what must Wananchi then do to reclaim that power and show the political class that you are their courtesy of us? Without us, y'all don't exist.
You know, civic awareness is critical. And one of the things that I'm beginning to see, I'm seeing people organizing at different levels. I see women organizing at different levels. I see young people organizing at different levels. I see the church beginning to come out. The Pentecostals, the evangelicals, the Catholics, they are beginning to reclaim the ground that they had abandoned in the hope that a new constitutional dispensation would help us. They are now realizing that the human element is important. They are now beginning to tell politicians, we are not going to allow this. I see the media coming out boldly in the same manner that it did in 1992. And when you see the reaction of the politician, it means that they are beginning to get the pinch. The fire is beginning to burn them. That is good. It is when the political class begin to recognize that power is held in trust that they begin to behave. And I love it when I see, for example, the controller of budget and the auditor general coming up with some of these reports. We may think it is not useful. It is. You know, I was thinking to myself that what we now call counties were actually districts.
Yes. Yeah.
And they were run by a district commissioner. Yeah. Now you have a governor, many of them who think they are presidents. And you have a cabinet and you have a parliament. And in those days, the district commissioner only had a Land Rover. Today, governors attend funerals in those geographic spaces in helicopters. And you see the amount of money that they are spending. In their minds, they must be brought down to earth. And the reason why they must be brought down to earth is that our taxes must be used responsibly. The people are beginning to feel the pinch. If you look at the statistics of SMEs which are going down, if you look at any of the newspapers, the properties that are being sold, if you look at the outstanding pending bills which have not been paid, the economy is suffering. And normally when you begin to hurt the middle class, then they begin to rise up. And then working with the other Kenyans, the politicians are beginning to get the message. But it is not as fast as we desire. But the task must be undertaken diligently, consistently, and courageously in the knowledge that it is not for the faint-hearted.
I'd like us to take a break, and even as that, come back and ask, is the exercise of a vote then sufficient to deal with these issues? Some of which we've only started to scratch the surface about that we see today. Is that enough? Because everybody seems to say, well, you can change the course of all of this come 2027 on the second Tuesday of August. August 10th now is what we know. Is the vote enough to change some of these things? We'll come back and continue this with PLO. He's laughing already. We'll be back.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Traffic update brought to you by Chloride Oxide.
All right. Massive does not begin to explain or describe the traffic that's in Mombasa Road this morning, and it's starting off well beyond before Mlolongo. And then you're going to get to Old Mombasa Road, where just before the ICD. That also then continues with traffic. Cabanas then bleeding into Mombasa Road is very, very heavy. And it goes all the way through towards the Next Gen Mall. Next Gen then going out towards Rural Highways, bumper to bumper. Very slow this morning. And also traffic still continuing off the Thika Superhighway, but now contained to right around the Pangani underpass. And then as you get towards the Globe Cinema, it's going to hold a little bit and then continue towards Kirinyaga Road. Traffic coming off of Limuru Road is still pretty heavy as well. Lower Kabete in from Spring Valley also busy. And there's some traffic on James Gishuru leading over towards the Red Hill Link Road. That's what it looks like at this time on Traffic Hour. Let's keep an eye on things. We want to keep it moving. It's going to be busy this week. School's opening and whatnot. Let's talk SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Traffic update was brought to you by Chloride Oxide. Wherever the road takes you these days, stay powered by Chloride Oxide. Get total peace of mind on the highway with the premium Oxide battery range backed by a rock-solid 18-month manufacturer's warranty. Chloride Oxide, inside from Chloride Oxide.
Yaya Sidewalk Sale is here. From 29th June to 5th July, enjoy up to 50% off on selected items at participating stores. Make your end-of-month budget go further with amazing deals on fashion, beauty, home essentials, electronics, and more. Don't miss a week of incredible savings and rewarding shopping. Yaya Center. Why go anywhere else?
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Our conversations continue at 25 minutes to 9 o'clock with PLO this morning. And look at the things that we've talked about. I mean, today on the Standard, spending spree. And you're going to ask the question, how much money do you need as a county? Well, it seems you need 235 million shillings from one county to fly around to travel within Kenya. Mm-hmm. And that in another county, 1.18 billion. In another one, 471 million. It seems as though if you're going from Migori to Kisumu, you cannot use the road. You must fly in a helicopter. It seems as though you need 4 vehicles to get yourself from one place to the next that cost fuel of 214 to 15 shillings for diesel. This is the reality. It seems as though we're going back to school now, and we've carted off all the secondary school heads to Mombasa for the last week to have a conversation about what's been happening with our children who are in school and how can we keep the fire burning low, literally. How can we make sure that a health system works that you spent 104 billion shillings on, which for the last 7 days has not functioned, and they tell us it's a glitch. And I say it's not a glitch, it's a breakdown. Can all of these problems, PLO, and we say that the answer to all of this is leadership, because if the fish rots from the head, then you get rid of the head. Okay. Can you solve all of these issues with the vote?
No, not at all. Let me tell you, if, we appear to have misguided faith in the ballot box. And I believe, we've been around now, Africa's problem is the ballot. Because African politics now attracts not our very best, not our very honest, and is a combination of factors. In the early 60s up to the 70s, your parliamentarian was not the most well paid. Then we assumed that if you pay your parliamentarians more, or your councillors, they call them MCAs more, then they would perform better. Then you also gave them funds which they controlled. If they are women representatives, they have a fund, a slush fund essentially, which they control. If they are MCAs, they have a ward fund. If they are MPs, they have a fund, which is the constituency fund. And then you created funds such as Hustler, such as Nyota, which you distribute in cash.
Yes.
In places.
Yeah.
Then those who went into politics, and that is why politics in Kenya is a life and death issue. because you have access to all these funds. So when Kenyans believe that in the year 2007 you'll have change, I laugh. Why do I laugh? I look at both sides, the so-called opposition and those in government. They are the same individuals. I've known them. Some of them were in parliament when I was a university student. So when we assume that that is what is going to help this country, we are deluding ourselves. And many times I think that Kenya has reached a stage where we must say that anybody who has ever served as an MCA, as a parliamentarian, as a president should be barred from contesting election, so that we start on a totally different slate with different ethics. Easier said than done. Easier said than done. But that is what we need dramatically.
Because the person who was involved in corrupting the process cannot be allowed to fix it.
How can they fix it today? They tell you, for example, that if you want to have a rally and you want 100,000 people, we have never gotten a rally of 100,000. We don't even count well. They are normally between 10 and 30,000 at the very best. You've got to mobilize. There is something called mobilization fees. You know, there's actually bribery fees. Then you expect that individual to make the right decision. In a nutshell, what I'm saying, beyond lamentation, is that one of the things that we must do when we are thinking about amending the Constitution is rethinking governance. When I was part of the group that were collecting views in the early 2000s, one of the things that we said, let us eliminate constituency-based politics. Let us have proportional representation. And we argued then it would strengthen political parties. It would ensure that political parties have the very best men and women. Of course, we lost that. We are now become more ethnic. Just let's look at what is happening in the forthcoming by-election. Is it in Okoh?
Okoh, yes.
Listen to the rhetoric. And you know that you are not going to get your very best. There was an election, I think, in Embu, and we are told millions were spent. So, in a nutshell, we are deluding ourselves in believing that on the 10th day of August, the year 2027, we shall have a new, freshly baked politician. They are the very same. The things they said 10 years ago, they are not saying them. They are the same. They don't change their colors. They are the same. So Kenyans must rethink. And I now see people talking about constitutional change. Perhaps that is where we have to get it. What must we change? Governance. We must, and there are following things that we must do about governance. Number one, we must merge counties. Ethiopia, with a population almost twice as us, bigger than this country twice, has only 12 regions, with Dire Dawa and Addis Ababa being the equivalent of Nairobi and Mombasa, being governed differently. No governor. We must reduce counties, in my view, to 14 at the very best. Two, we must reduce the size of parliament. We must reduce the size of parliament, and we must consider bringing about proportional representation so that we don't have these ethnic groupings which masquerade as political parties. We must reduce remuneration for those who are in the political space, and we must consider making our parliamentarians part-timers. We must re-energize the civil service so that it becomes a civil service that is not politically aligned. Once we do that and we begin to merge institutions, there are institutions, for example, that should be merged. The Office of the Ombudsman, the Office of National Cohesion, and Kenya Human Rights Commission. That should be one commission. You know, there is so much work to be done. Once we have the architecture of governance properly done, then we can begin to change the DNA of your political class. It will begin to attract people who truly want to serve. But in the next 10 to 15 years, if we continue on this basis, our politics will continue to attract our very worst. And I want to explain what I mean by worst. People think that if you have a degree, you are a professor, you are a doctor, you are an engineer, you are a lawyer, you are good. No. In fact, some of the most dangerous people to this country are professionals. It is character.
Yeah.
That's why Ryan Holiday says the first thing is discipline, humility, honesty. You must have values. And these are the things that you don't see in many of our politicians. How they conduct themselves, how they talk to Kenyans, the arrogance that they exude. And I'm saying that we must begin working at it. It is not going to be easy. And that is why you see your typical politician loves dividing us along ethnic lines. They say, it is our turn. Let me say this because it has been said. There was a time when people said that Nilots should organize as Nilots to retain power. Can you believe it in the 21st century? Somebody who has gone to school thinking like that? In response, they said our cousin the Bantu. That is how the former deputy president of the Republic of Kenya then started saying our cousins when he went to Western Kenya. That is how we started talking about Murima and Mutaro and the Murembe group. How can people in the 21st century, when we are talking about East African integration and African integration, be thinking like that? But I know why.
Why?
It is through that avenue that then they distract us from discussing the things that really matter. Because as the saying goes, your typical politician thinks of only one thing, the next election, not the next generation. And that is where we are in Kenya.
See, PLO, you speak about politicians, the parliament, individuals are supposed to be in, they don't show up. They don't bother. And that is on a bill that is going to decide how Kenya is governed the next 1 year, because it is budget that will cater for all the resources the country has. They don't show up. But we will see them present in all political rallies every other day, including weekdays, when they are supposed to be in these houses. Today we hear, hi cousins, we've even politicized a road, saying that the construction of Mau-Rironi Road, because it is going to a specific region of the country, then others are now opposing it because it does not go to them. We are politicizing and ethnicizing a road that is supposed to serve Kenyans. One would think that when one is using that road, perhaps they would have to show their ID and their region for them to access it. PLO, today we live in a country where we are saying that those who have been part of the problem are the ones to give us the solution. Many would say you can't do the same thing the same way and expect different results.
You know, when you talk of, there's a member of parliament whom I will not name, but I know him very well. He is reported to have said that what should now happen is that no development at all should be taken to Mount Kenya at all. The development should now be taken only to Nyanza and Rift Valley and Western Kenya, because one of their own is now head of the Parliamentary Budget Committee. You know, when somebody thinks like that and just doesn't think it, he speaks it. And he's a member of parliament who I believe has a university degree. Then he tells you we have a problem. He or she does not understand what running a country is in the 21st century. And it is because we have created a country where mobilization is on ethnicity. And once again, we thought about this. When we were doing the Constitution in 2002, we invited the late Professor Ali Mazrui, and he presented a paper to us. If African politics are ethnic prone. Can we have constitutions that are ethnic proof? And what he was trying to do, how can we deal with this ogre called ethnicity in a creative manner, in a manner that does not stand in the way of development, understood broadly to mean things beyond infrastructure. So I can't agree with you more that this idea that Kenyans have, that they are waiting for elections with bated breath, because the day after election they'll have a bunch of people in the image of Moses doing things for them, for the benefit of the country. It is completely untrue.
PLO, there's a statement that was made here by one of our guests, and he said that Kenyans know who is a bad leader and who should not be voted for. And Kenyans equally know who is a good leader who would bring in change. But Kenyans choose to vote for the person who they know very well should not be in those offices. Do we as Kenyans, do Kenyans then, are they part of the problem as to where we find ourselves
Of course. The Kenyan voter, and I dare say the African voter, is a co-author of his own misfortune. I think I've said this before at one time, and I was quoting Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere when in 1994 he was invited by his party, Chama cha Mapinduzi, to give a suggestion on who should be the president of Tanzania. And he says, first of all, he must be an individual who will fight corruption. He must be an individual who will fight against religious mobilization and ethnic mobilization. He must be an individual who knows that being in power is a position of trusteeship. He must be a humble man. Then he said, but I see my people now thinking religion, thinking ethnicity. And he said in Kiswahili, naomba iwatafune. And there is a sense in which the Kenyan voter, as you rightly say, and as your guest rightly say, they know the individuals who, if given an opportunity, would serve. But they don't. In fact, a friend of mine who is an ambassador, but who lived here, is ambassador of a foreign country, told me Kenyans have never quite voted a president or voted. They vote against something. And in that process, another person is declared the winner. Perhaps that is what we do. You go to the village today, people are voting along clan lines. People are voting along clan lines, along tribal lines, and a little bit of who paid the money most. So you are right in saying, knowing as we do the men and women who, if given the opportunity to serve, would serve, we choose not to vote them. And this is what Kenyans say, hajui siasa. And hajui siasa means that you don't bribe the electorate. Hajui siasa means that you don't drink with the electorate. Hajui siasa means that you don't lie to the electorate. Hajui siasa means you are not prepared to share with them the CDF. Hajui siasa means that you are a honest man or a woman. Then hujui siasa from the Kenyan voter standpoint.
Is there a connection between seeing things actually work and the vote that you take at the ballot? Because it seems as though when we talk about things like when you have to force a situation that something needs to give for you to see the benefits of it. I often give the example of if my grandfather hadn't insisted that my mother goes to school, the people of Igbodo village would not have understood that it was a good thing to send their girls to school. But something had to happen. He had to be insulted by the people of the village and say, why are you wasting this woman who would have been a good mother and a wife by sending her to school? But until she graduated and then became a medical professional, people then understood, look at what we can actually do. So, does something need to be uncomfortable?
Yes.
In order for people to actually see and understand that this change that you speak of, then we will leave these trivial things like collecting 200. We leave these trivial things like saying it is our time for the son of our soil to be a leader. But something has to snap. Does it not, PLO?
My sister is sad I'm giving this example because it's not a good one.
Yeah.
But when I go to Rwanda, and I go there often, the way the Rwandese think on average is very different from the way the Kenyans think. Because they have known pain. Not that we must know pain. We must now learn not to experience that pain. But they can relate. The woman in the village who is part of the milk production process, who has been given a cow, thinks differently. The person who goes to the village hospital and gets medication thinks differently. The person who sees the traffic officer, the person who has a tablet in schools in Rwanda, because he or she is able to see that the tax he or she pays is resulting in good education. Health facilities. Look at Kenya today. The number of international system schools, British or American, there is a proliferation of them because the middle class has lost faith in the education system. All these parliamentarians you see, 99% of them, their children are not going to Kenyan schools.
Oh, for sure.
Number two, 99% of parliamentarians, their medical cover also has a component of treatment outside of the country. So they have no interest. But when I grew up, partly in my rural home and partly in Nairobi, when we heard you are going to a private school, we wondered what was wrong with you because schools worked. In my rural village in Usenge, there was a dispensary at a place called Usigu, and I would go there and there would be a prescription and I would go to the pharmacy and I would get medicine. In Jericho, it was the same. I went to St. Patrick's Primary School here in Maringo and Usenge both, and at Standard 5, each student was given a mathematical set. You never bought exercise books, you never bought textbooks. Garbage was collected using trucks that lifted the garbage bin. Today, we have takataka collecting takataka. You have vehicles which themselves are not roadworthy, are the ones which are collecting garbage. And these things and then it was a joy to pay tax. Today, what is the joy? And allow me to say this. Take, for example, we look at our roads. The NTSA now tells you that we are going to inspect motor vehicles. First of all, they have no capacity to inspect vehicles. 80% of Kenyan vehicles are over 4 years old. It's a revenue collection exercise. So the whole idea is not to streamline, it is just to collect more and more money. If you drive along Kenyan roads, and I drive along them, the number of police officers who are deployed hiding so that they catch you with a speed, why are you doing that? Go to countries like Botswana and Namibia and Rwanda. They have speed limits and people are supposed to drive, but the intention in Kenya is to catch you breaking the law so that we can fine you. In other words, I'm saying we have a problem in our philosophical appreciation of what taxes ought to give back to us. Everything that ought to be in the public, when you talk about, for example, SHA collapsing, I'm not saying this is what happened. Could it have been collapsed? Because sometimes they are collapsed. Because people want to go back to the manual system for whatever reason. So we have all these beautiful things, SHA, we have all these e-citizen, we have all these Ardhi Sasa, all beautiful things on paper in a country where people have fidelity to truth and doing the right thing. They ought to make service delivery efficient. But that is not the case. So I agree with you. There is need for discomfort on the part of the people so that they may wake up. I'm speaking metaphorically. Fire must be placed under our bottoms. And when we burn, it will do two things. It will remove the wax from our ears, and the scales from our eyes will begin to fall off. And what we will demand is service delivery, not noise. And I'm repeating it this. When a government is working, it doesn't say it. It is self-evident. When you hear a government is shouting, this is what we are doing, you see them taking newspaper pullouts to say what they have done, then there is a problem. You know, one of the things that I see in Kenyan newspapers is governors saying, we give you 100% tax rebate or waiver.
Yeah.
And it's the image of the governor that is there. Why? If there is a waiver, why don't they communicate to their people? They know who are paying taxes. Why are they spending money to tell us that they have waived taxes? It is warped understanding of what governors and governance is all about. The ESCC last week issued a statement that no member of parliament should have their photos on any public project. You drive around the country, they are all there. Why? Because it is not about the people. It is for personal glorification. You have a border post, then you say, donated courtesy of some fellow. You have NC, this building painted courtesy of some fellow. A gate, a wall. Who? These are our taxes. Kenyans must begin to understand that these individuals have no money. This is our money. When you buy bread, when you buy kiberiti, matchboxes, it is that money that accumulated goes into the financing of this thing. Robert Mugabe put it very well, that to praise a politician because he has presided over the building of a road is like praising an ATM when you withdraw your money from it. It is your money in the first place.
PLO, are we running a corruption enterprise in the country that is denying us all the good things that come to the constitution and democracy that Kenya has fought for?
I've put it differently before, that most African countries are running kakistocracies to mean governments of our very worst, and kleptocracy to mean government that is managed by thieves. And you can't contradict it. I want you to look at the newspapers today. The Auditor General has told us that despite the warning of both the Auditor General and the Controller of Budget, there are number of accounts which have been opened in one county. They have over 500 bank accounts. You and me, if we have two accounts, we are confused.
That's a lot.
500 accounts, what are they for?
Yeah.
It is to steal money. This is a country where we say we have ghost schools to which money is channeled, and we don't arrest the ghosts. This is a country where we say we have ghost workers, ghost pensioners, and nobody is arrested, but there are live accounts into which those monies are paid, and every bank, before you open an account, conducts something called KYC, which means they have your identity card number, which means they have your photograph, and if you are a company, they have your certificate of registration. Why can't we trace them? Why can't we simply say that the anti-fraud and anti-money laundering institutions in this country working with banks are going to deal with this, and have a few individuals have their property taken? Look at what is happening in other countries where things are meant to happen. In France, their former president, Nicolas Sarkozy, was in jail.
Yes.
As I speak to you, in South Korea, both the president and the wife are in jail. That is what this country needs. But here, I've heard an opposition leader saying, I'm the one who will be in front because nobody can dare arrest me. Can you believe it? Nobody can dare arrest you even if you break the law. You are above the law. You are operating outside of the law. And I'm telling you, in this country, that is the general belief by your member of parliament, by your governors, by your head of state, by his deputy, by his ministers, that they are operating outside of the law. The law is for you and me. We lesser mortals, we children of a lesser God, we are the ones who will be subject to the law. When you run a country like that, you pay the price.
You also have a decision to make about what you can do tomorrow. PLO Lumumba is an advocate of the High Courts of Kenya and Tanganyika and has been with us this morning And we leave on that note. Thank you very much for being here with us this morning. Asante sana. We'll talk again soon. Good morning. 9 a.m.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the news. I'm Sheila Tembor. Activist Davis Lichuma has been found alive after he went missing during the 25th June Gen Z protest anniversary. The Social Justice Center's working group says he was found in critical condition, allegedly tortured and abandoned before being taken to Kenyatta National Hospital and later transferred to Nairobi Women's Hospital for treatment. The group is calling for an independent investigation into his disappearance and alleged torture, demanding accountability for those involved. Earlier, activists had issued a 24-hour ultimatum for his release or threatened protest, accusing authorities of inaction over enforced disappearances. President William Ruto has urged students to reject violence and embrace discipline, warning that their choices today will shape their future. Speaking at Bureruri Boys High School in Meru County, the president expressed concern over rising cases of school unrest, including arson and destruction of property, and called on learners to make responsible decisions.
In recent weeks, our nation has watched with deep concern incidents of unrest in some of our schools, causing anxiety among parents, distress among teachers, and concern across the country. These events should make all of us reflect. They remind us that education is not only about passing examinations, but also about forming character, resolving differences peacefully, and understanding that every action carries consequences.
Opposition leaders have condemned rising cases of hooliganism in the country, terming them a threat to national unity. Speaking at the AIC Church in Namanga, they also criticized Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen over remarks they describe as threatening to former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Here is former Attorney General Justin Muturi.
Yale ambayo tunatoa katika midomo zetu ni lazima tuyapime sana. Isiende ikaleta uhasama katika nchi. When you stand in a public podium and threaten, you're threatening somebody who is ako kwa nyumba pale, alisema aliwaambia Wakenya wote, hata hakuficha, alisema anaenda 45 days kukaa pale wa Munyoro. Sasa unaanza kusema wewe unaenda unasema wewe hata kura utapiga. Jameni, tumefika hapo kwa sababu yale ambayo tumehubiriwa, tunaanza nasema ilikuwa ya maana sana. Because what is that kind of statement coming from a leader, a cabinet secretary, and more particularly in charge of national security?
Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka called for strict adherence to the constitution, faulting police for alleged use of excessive force against protesters.
Alhamisi mimi mwenyewe nilienda kuweka maua, badala wanikubalie na wenzangu viongozi. Mheshimiwa Eugene Wamalwa tulikuwa naye, hao wengine walizuiliwa hata hawakufika huko karibu mahali tulipokuwa. Tukaenda kutaweka, badala ya kukubali kiheshima ya watoto hawa waliowawa, hata hawakubali sisi twende karibu na bunge. Ikatubidi tuweke maua juu ya seng'eng'i. Hilo ni jambo la kiaibu na sio jambo la kiuzalendo. Tulikuwa tunaandamana na wazazi waliohadhirika, kina mama. Hata ingawaji walisema sijui tuliweka maua na tukatoroka, hata wakujua wakuwa pale.
And that's the news. I'm Sheila Tembor.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Every time he kept on saying he wants a vibrant opposition.
How does it make sense that public money has been used for everything and then they dare to sell it back to you? Why are they not giving them for free?
That's how broken we are. That's how broken we are.
They are being sent home now for fees. They are going to fail to prepare. We are compromising
the futures of these children.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something you must do.
Must do.
Like now, you abandon, of course, the narrative of wheelbarrow, Mutomjengo, Mama Mboga, and all those, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion, and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion to service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit, it's in itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country. We are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
When you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human. Everybody's human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, I mean, you'd be a fool to say, stagi kuongea today. Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 12 minutes after 9 o'clock on this 29th day of June. Indeed, getting into the penultimate day of the month.
Yes.
And even as we get into a conversation with Mr. President, it is Monday after all. And we're going to be asking a couple of questions, but we're going to ask ourselves those questions first.
Yes.
But before we do that, power us into the hour. We're power into the hour.
Unataka power.
Kabisa.
Wacha nikupe power.
Please do.
We've established a few things. Chloride Exide is the best battery for your computer on wheels, aka modern day vehicles. Why? Because of the modern technology that is in these vehicles, then you need a lot of power to power your vehicle. Right? But now we've talked about legacy. Why is legacy important? Because these are individuals who've been in the game for over 60 years and they have continued to develop R&D into these batteries so that it matches what we need today. Remember, even if you're doing the new electric vehicles today, right, you still need a battery, 12-volt battery that has been tested and has been proven to be able to ignite that vehicle of yours, right? So Chloride Exide is telling you, for those who are using high-end cars, those who are using new modern cars, all you need to do is buy the battery, but you can even make it easier for you because you're busy, because you're signing checks, because you are in situation room dissecting the country system. You can dial a battery. And how do you dial a battery? 0719 080 000 is what you call. And the dealers around your locale within 20 kilometers will come. They will look at your battery, tell you, "Hey, battery mechapa, you need new power," right? They will install it for you. Now, with modern day vehicles, that battery is coded to your vehicle. So they will scan your vehicle, they will code that battery to your vehicle, and they will tell you you are good to go, shine, or drive. But in the event that there is other problems, right, like your alternator is not charging well, they will tell you, we'll install debe, muziki ni mzito, you need to upgrade your alternator for you to get maximum performance from what? From your battery. So do this today. Dial 0719 080 000. You'll be dialing a battery. Somebody on the other end will pick that call. They will come to you, install it, and tell you, now enjoy your massage seats, your automatic dampers, and what else? Your sunroof, aka moonroof. Hapo tuko sawa?
Kabisa.
Bas. Ukitaka power unaenda wapi? Chloride
Exide.
Bas.
All right. So this is what we are going to do now that we have a little bit of power. It's a question that we need to ask ourselves this morning. Dear Mr. President, we normally come in to start the week and say there's certain things that, you know, just from the week before, this is what Kenyans seem to be asking you for. Uphold the rights of Kenyans. Now, in order for me to ask you to do something for me, I'm going to have to understand what that thing is. Uphold the rights of Kenyans, dear Mr. President, but we want to ask you first. Do you know what your rights are as a Kenyan? Because, you know, you can be asking for something that you don't know what it is. Mtoto Alia, what's that Kiswahili saying?
What exactly do you want?
The one for the razor blade.
Oh. Hey.
Exactly. So now you're asking for certain things. Do you actually know what that means? Where do they start and where do they begin? But when we talk about human rights and when we talk about your rights as a Kenyan, do you actually know what those are? And that if dealt in any situation, there is a right to be upheld in this country. It doesn't matter where it is. And I think about it, and I was just looking at doing a research over the last couple of days, that when you say that there is a right to be upheld, in any situation in which you are as a Kenyan today, there is a right to be upheld. When you wake up in the morning and you get to where you're going, there's a right to be upheld there. Whether it is your protection, whether it is that the taxes that you pay and they need to be going towards something, whether it is the right to free and affordable healthcare, whether there is a right to free education for your children, whether there is a right for children to then be in school, that there is a right for them not to be on the road selling, that they should actually be in school, and that when they are not in school, they should be continuing their learning, or then in a place where they can then actually play. Whether you're at work, there are rights. Whether that you're running a business, there are rights. Whether you're just as a Kenyan in a space, there are rights for you not to be disappeared and or killed extrajudicially.
Or tortured.
Do you know what those rights are? We actually want to hear from you this morning, so that let's establish that you are aware of what those are, and then when you speak to the powers that be, or the people that you have donated your power to temporarily, they can ensure that those rights are actually kept and upheld. Follow me so far?
Yes.
All right. You know what your rights are, you can then demand for them, or that you can exercise your knowledge when met with a situation whereby the rights then that you speak of need to then be upheld.
Yes.
If you do not know what they are, you cannot demand them. Serious. If you do not know what they are, can you imagine if somebody is arresting you and you don't even know that if they have not brought a charge against you in the next 24 hours that they must let you go? If you don't know that, then we have a problem. That if somebody is trying to arrest you and they do not show you their badge number and or name, or they're not in official uniform, there's a problem. Do we know these things? Do we know that if your child is you, do you know that you are abrogating the rights of your own child if they are not in school? So when we say make it a situation conducive as to where my rights can be upheld, dear Mr. President, do you know what they are?
And I think also it goes beyond knowing what your rights are, but can you stand and defend that right when you're called upon? In the instant where you've been arrested breaking the law, say you were speeding above the speed level limits, and a police officer comes through, arrests you, do you agree and say, police officer, I have broken the law, take me in, I will follow the law? Or are you the very same person who, on the other hand, says, Mr. President, I have the right to demonstrate. My child has the right to go to school. But you are, on the other hand, abrogating the right for you to be charged in court because it is easier for you to pay bribe. At what point then do you choose to say, these are my rights? But on the other hand, you are the very first person to break the very law that gives you the right.
Yep. It's the question that we're asking this morning before you can demand certain things of your president. So we need you to call us this morning and tell us so that we can get an understanding of what some of these things are. 0732-142-650. 0732-142-652. Abi? 1. Okay. We'll get that very clear in just a minute. So many numbers bouncing around in my head. Did you know you also have a right to recall the person that you have given representation over you? Did you know that you have a right as a citizen in a private capacity to petition against something that you see is going wrong? Do you know that? Do you know that you have a right to demand how your county is spending their money? You can actually say, excuse me, I, having voted you in at this level, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, can actually demand that of you. Do you know that you can do that as a private petitioner, or that you can do that, those people who come together mushrooming and say, we are actually going to ask this question? People have been doing it. The Katiba Institute, we have Okoh, Uchumi. It's like they spend every waking moment petitioning some of these things, and they've been doing it on the behalf of Kenyans for a very long time. But do you know that you actually have a right to do that? Let me tell you something. The right to demonstrate, the right to lobby, the right to picket is guaranteed. It is not suggested. It is guaranteed under the Constitution. Now, some of these things where people say, did you see grown-up men and women who tell you that they want to run and be your leaders running away from the police during the commemoration on Thursday last week? So that means even at some level, there are people who are not even sure, can I be in this space and reserve the right to not be abducted, disappeared, or killed? Even at that point, we battle with it. So, do you understand what they are? Because if you don't understand what they are, you cannot demand them. These are some of the questions that we're asking this morning. So even when you're asking somebody to uphold something, if you yourself are not sure, I don't even think that you can ask somebody else to uphold those things for you if you do not understand what they are.
I mean, do we know what it is you're fighting for? Because for a very long time we said the Constitution is clear. The Constitution has said.
To who?
Have you read it? Do you understand what the Constitution is saying? I mean, have you taken the trouble for anyone so that when you are stopped during these demos that you're saying, my right is guaranteed, this is what it says, and I stand by it? That when police officers come or anyone tells you not to show up, that you can actually look straight into their eyes and tell them, this is my right. It is guaranteed by the Constitution, and I'm not here begging because the Constitution has guaranteed it. We can work together so that I can achieve my goals, which is to demonstrate, right? But you cannot stop me, Do we understand the work that went into giving us this power? Or are we just following the wind like a flag, right? Simply because we can, and because there are others who are pushing us. One would be for the political gain, right? Not because entirely they are invested in that which you are pushing as Mwananchi. Are we also saying we have this right because it is politically inclinated, or simply because we genuinely and honestly want to uphold these rights that we've been given by the Katiba.
Indeed, let's take your calls this morning. We're hearing from you. 0732142653 or 0732142650. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling from, sir.
Yes, this is Kerry from Lavington, Kangware.
Yes, Kerry, good morning.
Good morning, Nduh and Dennis.
Asante.
I just wanted to say about the rights. As much as the responsibility of knowing our rights is also part of our civic duties, the greater responsibility lies in those on authority. And they have Article 46, I think, which speaks about the responsibility of state and public officers in upholding the rights of the individual and the right of the citizen. But I just wanted to say, if you indulge me just for 3 minutes,
yes,
that we are seeing a clawback on these rights, and it's eminent everywhere. But I want to remind those in authority that in South Africa recently, a police officer, a very senior police officer, sat down and said, no, it can't continue anymore. And he decided to let go. He's called Muhwanazia. You know, their names are very difficult. I can't remember the first name, but I've been following the following story. It's called Muhwanazia. Sometime in June, I think.
Yeah.
And he said that the police force, it was before June, I think in May. And he said the police force in South Africa is completely corrupt. And he gave the entire legal justice system, right from the judiciary all the way to the arms of that are involved in the justice system. He mentioned even the minister for internal, what they call the internal security, or minister for state, and the number of times he's tried to interfere with police investigation and giving police direction against the law. And unlike here, where such an officer would have been silenced, I think for all the dark things that are going on in South Africa right now, the president set up a commission called the Madlanga Commission. It was named after, it's a commission, a judiciary inquiry, but it has been nicknamed the Madlanga Commission because Madlanga is the deputy chief justice. So he's the chairman of that commission. And I tell you, the revelations that have come out of that commission are mind-boggling, because the minister were the things that most police officers say the minister had done and had facilitated. It forced the minister to step down. And there is a whole chain of senior police officers who have been involved in drug trafficking, money laundering, and all type of human rights abuses. They even had a secret house where they tortured anyone who tried to, try and share information about the criminality of the police force. So as they sit in those public offices and think that the law will never catch up with them, or they will trample on people's rights and it will go that way, I'd just like to call them to know that it will one day catch up with them. We had a former Inspector General of Police, and those days we called them Police Commissioner, called Matthew Tere. He said that there is no perfect crime, and even if the populace elect politicians who have criminal intent and who make it difficult for the police to execute their duty, one day the rule of law will catch up with them. And so let me just end it there and say the law will prevail. Nobody has ever won over the law. Even those who are now closing media houses in our neighboring countries, I want just to report to them that the rule of law will always win over the rule of man. I thank you very much.
Kerry, thank you very much for your assertions this morning. It may take a while, but it's going to happen. Let's take some more calls this morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm very fine. Is that SpiceFM?
Yes, it is. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Jane. I'm calling from Kajiado.
Yes, Jane.
I want to bring to the media the attention of the retirement of public officers in the government who are not being replaced. I also came to learn through my own research, because I wondering why we are training some students in a technical college and they're not being absorbed by the same department, I came to learn at our ministry that there is money. The money that the officers who retire is still budgeted on in every financial year. And once the officers retire, that money is supposed to employ the entry point officers also. Let me give you a scenario. In our department currently, just this year, 53 officers are going to retire. Let us assume that each officer is retiring at a job group which is very high. They are getting paid over maybe 200,000 per month. That is almost 10.6 million per month. That 10.6 million, that the 200,000 that a retiring officer is paid, can employ almost 3 entry officers because they're employed at a lower job group.
So do you work? I get what you're saying. You work for the ministry?
I work at a department.
A department in the ministry. So what you're talking about, because this bleeds into our conversation, that there's certain rights that you must know, that if somebody is retired, that there is the right of those who are coming in at an entry-level place to then be able to earn because of that. So the money that essentially has been saved, quote unquote, by those who have retired now should actually be in place to hire new people.
Yes, which is not happening in most state departments. So you can imagine the colossal amount of money that the government is pocketing.
Why is this not happening?
It is just part of corruption, because maybe that is the money they're also giving to the people who are lining up for their these political rhetorics that are happening in our country. You can imagine if only in our own department you can save 10.6 million per month. Times 12 per year, and we have not employed people for almost 7 years.
Why? And however, the ministries, rather even at the department level, come every August, that there are budget lines that departments have to then give to the ministry in terms of the money that you want to spend in the next financial year.
And the money is funded, yes. The budget is just as the same as last year, even better this year. For example, last year we got 1.5 billion. As a state department, this year we have gotten 1.7 billion.
And what you're telling us now is that if you're looking at about 10 million shillings that is saved again with the retirement of certain individuals, that it is not going back into the hiring of new individuals. So we see a couple of things happening here, that the workload increases then on the staff that have been retained, and that there's money which is in the budget which is not going towards staff retention, for example.
In fact, the people who are working in outstations, because we have offices countrywide, they are really complaining because of the workload, because most of them are past 57 years. Because the youngest that we employed are past maybe 35.
So also, you're not employing young people?
Yes, we are not.
Who are graduates from university, for example, or who have come out of the 2-year diploma TVETs?
Because I was an instructor in our college. Until I blew up a corruption scandal, then I was transferred. But even from our own college, we are not employing the technical staff that we are training. They have diploma. We went with a colleague of mine to Public Service Commission, and they told us we are supposed to have a letter to employ both the diplomas holders and the degree holders. That is how the government works essentially anyway. And we have never employed the diploma holders for 7 years. Yes, we train them, and the cost that we train them for is very expensive. For 2 years, we pay 316, almost 320,000.
I need you to repeat something, because we're going to go to a break, Jane. But I need to understand, and I think Dennis's confusion is mirroring mine. You've said that the people who go to TVETs, because from our understanding, that TVETs were I think Jane has knocked. Is Jane still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. The question that we're asking, TVETs were instituted, or at least buffered, because there was an option where people could go into varsity education at a lower cost for a shorter period of time, but then there would be guaranteed work thereafter. Now, what you're telling us is that for the past 7 years in your department, do you mind to tell us which department this is we're talking about? Or are you just going to hold on to that?
I'm not going,
hold on to that. That's fine, Jane. We completely understand.
Yeah.
But you're saying that for the last 7 years, there have been no hiring of these same students who are coming out of TVETs. So you're not hiring younger people. You're retiring older ones. You're hiring people who've been in the workforce for at least 10 years. And the new folks who are coming up through the education system are not being considered for work.
Yes.
And also, what you're saying is that for the individuals who've retired for over 7 years now, you've not replaced them, yet there have been budgets allocated to them in terms of salaries.
Yes.
That means in 7 years, there is 700 million shillings that is just playing around that cannot be accounted for because it was allocated anyway.
It is not even 700 million. It is 10.6 million. Let us just give a mean of what has happened this year. If 53 people are retiring and they have a salary of 200,000, let us just give an example. That is 10.6 million
in a month.
In a month, yeah.
12.
So in 1 year, that would be 100
7.
and something.
12 times 7 is 84.
Yeah.
Wow. Times 7 years.
Okay. Jane? Mm-hmm. We were having a conversation about rights, and we thought, do you know your rights? And these are some basic things that we're talking about in terms of rights.
I've been listening to SpiceFM for quite a while.
Thank you very much, because what you've told us this morning is right in line with what we are talking about. Because then when you go and you say that somebody is going to be appointed a CS in a particular ministry, or people are going to be PSs, the rights of people then to be able to deal with things like this is exactly what we're talking about. That the children who go to school, the children who go to school and come out of university and say, okay, I have a HELB loan to pay for goodness sake, or something like that. How am I going to do without work? And there's space, according to what we know, that has been created for these graduates to enter into a program working for government. Okay, Jane.
Yes.
Jane, thank you very much for your call this morning. We're going to take your number and hang on to the line and talk to you in a bit thereafter, because this is very interesting. I reckon that there is a lot more hanging on in there that we may not know about. But thank you very much for calling this morning. Keep listening.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. All right, what we're going to do, because I think we need it, is that we're going to take a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Because my goodness, some of the things that we hear will actually shock you, and, you know, things are working, or so we're told. This is the Situation Room. Our conversation with dear Mr. President this morning is that please uphold our rights. That's Jane. She has given you a direct example of things that are actually not happening. Right to employment, right to education, and then to actually have your skill set be practiced.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. We'll be back.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Traffic
update brought to you by Chloride Oxide.
All right, taking a look at what's happening on the roads this morning. Still coming out of traffic hour. We should be done with that right about now, but there's bits and bobs of traffic. Look at what's happening on Mombasa Road. It is not fun at all. Traffic outbound to the city this morning, coming in from just before the Olusereni Junction, actually well before that. It's bumper to bumper and another bumper, because my goodness, very, very slow traffic going all the way crossing over Njeri Stadium at that roundabout, and then heading on to Huru Highway. If you're going into the city from Mombasa Road this morning, you might want to think now about taking the alternate route. The longer route indeed, but the alternate one than getting stuck in traffic. There's also some traffic coming off of Ngong Road, and also as you cross over James Gishore, a little bit of that, you'll be done with it in no time though. And as you get into the CBD this morning, if you're coming from Jogo Road, I'm very sorry. If you're going towards Wakulima, also a little bit of traffic is going to hold you up there. We're still in traffic hour for what we see. We know that there's more movement this weekend as you know, children are going back to school. So all in stride, folks, all in stride.
Traffic update was brought to you by Chloride Oxide. Wherever the road takes you these days, stay powered by Chloride Oxide. Get total peace of mind on the highway with the premium Oxide battery range, backed by a rock-solid 18-month manufacturer's warranty. Chloride Oxide, inside from Chloride Exide.
So many forward here. Titles are on the line. Rivalries are at their peak. This is the final stretch where legends rise and champions are made. From the Saudi League to the Bundesliga and La Liga. Recharge your monthly subscription today to feel the pressure, feel the passion, feel the game. Every pass, every goal, every moment matters. Don't miss a moment. Renew your subscription and stay in the game. To renew your subscription, dial *858# for self-service or get in touch with our call center on 0719 077 077 for customer care. Buy a StarTimes decoder at any of our dealer shops countrywide. Download the StarTimes On app to enjoy all your favorite shows and stream live channels on the move. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life. Sebastian Allaire.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Yep. This is what we're talking about this morning. You see why I say it's important for us to talk? What did Jane say as she called in? She said, you know what? I've been listening to you guys for a very long time. Today, I decided to call in and tell you, you don't even know the half of it in terms of exactly what is happening. Eric Owar, I see you. You thought you were okay. You thought you were okay until you hear some of the things, until Jane called, and then you said, now let's follow. The chaser in this case will be antidepressants because what? Yes. So this is what we're talking about, guys. Now, when we are able to make the connection with some of the things Jane was talking about and the action that you are taking in the next 1.5 years or so. Do you see now what we're talking about?
Yes.
To blow the lid on some of these things, you have a right, folks. We continue with our calls this morning. We are saying, dear Mr. President, but we've not even addressed the president yet.
Not yet.
You guys, let's talk about the things that you see or understand that you can say harp on your rights. Do you even know what those are? Jane does. She's called us this morning. Did you hear what she said? Let's take a few more calls. We'll hear them from you this morning. 0732142653 or 0732142650. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, Nduh and Dennis.
Good morning. Please tell us your name and where you're calling in from, sir.
My name is Kennedy. I'm calling from Nairobi.
Yes, Kennedy in Nairobi. How are things?
Yeah.
You're right. Do you know what they are?
Yes, I might know them, but in Kenya, your rights are formalities.
Like which ones?
I think Kenyans rights are one of the most violated in the world.
Why would you say that?
One of the most violated. I think probably for the middle class, you might not understand. But for me, I work as a taxi driver. And kwanza, labor laws are one of the most unadhered to. Labor laws, kwanza in Kenya, if you see people are employed for 300, 200. My first employment was for 150 shillings per day. You look and wonder you wonder what your rights are, and also police are one of the most. They violate the Kenyans' rights the most, because you look one time. Kwanza these taxi drivers they violate them all the time. Unapata unashikwa, then when you go to the police station, the one who has arrested you atakwambia madam hapo ama saa atakwambia makosa yako, and he's the one who has arrested you. Then he doesn't book you at the OB. He books you, anakuandikia karatasi, anakuambia sasa wewe tumekuona na hii makosa ende ulete cash bill ya 2,000. Then you bargain, unasema okay enda basi ulete yenye 500 yenye utapata. You look and wonder, ni makosa unatafuta ama ni nini? Because the police kwanza
ama ni pesa unatafuta.
Kwanza they are wamekaa kila mahali. Kasarani you find them along Likoni Road, wamepangana line huko Rongai, ukiingia Kitengela mbao unashindwa, is this wanatafuta pesa or they are supposed to protect rights of citizens. And also in the public health here in Kenya is a mess. We don't have the right to health care. Your right to health care, hiyo ni formality. Probably Bonadwale aende akona right to health care peke yake hii Kenya, and probably a few individuals in the high echelon. Because you tell me you are going to a public facility to receive treatment, umeshalipa consultation fee at 8 p.m. That's what happened for me some time back. Umeenda umelipa consultation fee at KU referral. Umeenda umelipa consultation fee at 8:30 p.m. Then
PM ama AM?
PM usiku. Unaambia daktari sasa atakuona masaa. You sit there, daktari alikuwa anatuona saa 8 usiku.
Hiyo ni asubuhi saa 8 sasa.
Asubuhi. The next day 6 a.m. Also bado hatajafanywa CT scan. If you are supposed to die, ungekuwa ushakufa kitambo.
If you are supposed to die.
Kama wewe ulikuwa ukufe, utakufa tu. Instead of them kushughulikia wanakuua kabisa. And then also, even right data privacy, you're not being respected in this. Kwanza when you are a visitor in this middle class estates, like Nyayo estate, unapata right to data privacy, unaambiwa atuache kitambulisho ndio ingie estate. That kitambulisho, you don't know what they are doing with that information. That's your national ID. You leave it at the gate. You don't know if they use it for money laundering. They'll register SIM cards. You don't know if they'll register PayPal accounts. Unapata watu wanashikwa na vitu zenye hata waelewi. I think that's my contribution for today.
And solid ones at that, Kennedy. Thank you for calling in this morning, because there it is. What you've done is that you've also taught some people that they didn't even know that some of these things are actually rights that we should actually hold on to. Thank you for your call this morning. This is why we need to have these conversations. Asante sana. All right, we're hearing from more of you this morning. 0732 142 653 0732 142 650. You're breathing. Breathe in the nose, out of the mouth, because you need to control your breathing, my friend.
You know, last week I had a mouthful with security officers in a certain estate. I'm going to do a story. And this gentleman asked for ID. So I ask, so they take my ID and he scans it. I ask him, why are you scanning my ID? You're not supposed to have that information. Oh, you know, I don't know where it goes. It goes to a certain database somewhere. I go and tell this gentleman.
He said this with his words, his mouth to you?
I even went to the office. And that guy, I'm like, a guy, check. You are not supposed to have my details. That is according to the data regulations of the country. So tell me who is the custodian of this information and what it is that you're doing with that information and when you will be deleting it from your system. He didn't have answers. That is what we are operating with, including individuals who've been given the responsibility of security. While I understand security when you're getting into estates, right? Yeah. These individuals need to equally have information to give their clients when you ask such questions. People don't know their rights out here.
We don't. Dennis Aseto will tell you how one day he was coming from Eldoret to Nairobi and he was arrested for walking from the stage to the next stage.
You know what it was called? It was called Nduh, walking under the influence.
Of tired men.
I'm bringing you my kidneys clean. Someone says I'm drunk. When you ask for, okay, fine, you said that I'm drunk. As a police officer, you need evidence. Let's go for a toxicological report that will back your evidence.
Which is your right to demand.
Which is my right to demand. At that point, the OCS said, Jama, take your things and
go. Your ally is too much. Yeah. Let's hear from you guys this morning. 0732 142 650 0732 142 653. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Fred Mulama from Kaeka, Kakamega.
Yes, Fred Mulama.
Ningependa kuchangia hii mchatala ya KTN.
Tuendelee.
Nasema mimi ni Fred Mulama kutoka Kaeka.
Kabisa tumekushika.
Nasema hivi Kenya Ruto asha corrupt kwa wakati alikopa hiyo pesa ndio sasa atamaliza nayo wa Kenya. Kwa alipewa pesa sasa trillions of money ndio afanyie siasa alafu wa Kenya waone wenyewe kwa wenyewe.
Oi. Wewe unaona nenda mbaya? I think okay, I think we may have lost him, but I think we got the message, Mulama. Yes. We got the message. And in terms of your rights, that money is actually yours. Kenyans.
Yes.
You see this money that everybody's talking about jumping up and down? It's actually your money.
Imagine
it may not be the money in your pocket. The debt is also yours. Let's hear from you this morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling in from. Okay, he's disappeared. But they're still coming in. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay. All right, maybe we need to check on that. I think our calls are dropping. But the fact that we don't even know.
Yeah.
Do you know the number of people... Let me clear my throat because this one needs some help. Just getting a bit of a note from a legal friend this morning. He says, you know what? Another right that people don't know. The number of people today in remand. Remand means that you're not in prison. Remand is holding until either you're temporarily holding. So that means that, number one, you can't be on remand for a year. You can't be on remand for 2, 3, 4 years, which actually is the situation. And that a lot of people who are on remand today are therefore not being able to raise the fine fees, not being able to do 1, 2, 3. According to what he's telling me, people don't know their rights in terms of what you can demand. To be released on your own recognizance, to be released on a personal bond, to be released on a free bond, to be released on bail. You don't need, but if you can't raise it now, that's another problem. But on those first 3 that you can actually be, the number of people who have even become the people who welcome others in remand. Karibu sana hapa unaweza lala no. It's unbelievable. According to this wakili who is telling us, people don't even realize that your person could have been out the day after they were put on remand. But we are there languishing.
We also don't know, many who get arrested, that you have the right to get an opportunity to call your lawyer or your significant other.
You should be able to make a phone call.
Make a phone call to anyone who will be able to help you in dealing with the matter in court or in police cells.
Do we know? Do we know? This has been Dear Mr. President. But before we address Dear Mr. President, let's arrange ourselves that you need to be knowing certain things before you take it to the next level. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. Please tell us your name and where you're calling in from, sir.
Oh, my name is Daniel.
Yes, Daniel. Where are you this morning?
I'm interested to know, there's something that is happening, and I think the media is not taking.
We can hear you, Daniel. Can you turn down the volume on your radio first of all? Let's start there. Okay, you're in Nairobi. Turn down the volume on your radio. That can help us a little bit.
It seriously.
Daniel?
Yeah.
Turn down the volume on your radio, please, sir. Okay, let's get you to turn down the volume on your radio and then perhaps give us a ring back, okay? Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Please tell us your name and where you're calling in from.
This is Eric Adera.
Yes, Eric.
From Kisumu.
Eric in Kisumu. Good morning.
Good morning to you. I've been trying to call some time to put in some thoughts. Today, PLO Lumumba talked, and he actually said what I've been saying all the way from 1996.
Which is what?
That we need to see what happened to Rwanda for us to end corruption. I even proposed that the only way we can do with corruption in Kenya is through a civil war. Punitive it is, but believe me, we need to have some punitive measures for us to see the correct thing. So, it is true that so far as Kenyans, we are blind. We are not seeing the wrongs that is happening. We don't know our rights. We have been kept ignorant by the fact that we don't even know the Constitution. So, it is true we need to have some punitive measures to add so that we can stand up for it. Yes.
I hear you. Thank you for your call. And since 1996, but I guess today you've been validated on a number of things. But thank you for your contribution this morning.
It's all taken almost 30 years.
Imagine. All in time. Asante sana.
Thank you.
We're still taking your calls this morning. 0732 142 653 or 0732 142 650. A number of things coming to the fore that you didn't even realize actually is your right. And I saw something in the comments just a few seconds ago, and that, you know, a lot of people they take fear and they weaponize it. What would be a normal emotion or a normal feeling for people? In the event that somebody is, coming to you, the first thing that you feel is fear. But they weaponize that fear because they know, number one, you're afraid. You know why they know you're afraid? Because they know that you do not know your rights. So you can imagine now, if you're armed with knowledge, fear takes a back seat. Abby? All right. Hello, good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, yeah.
Please could you speak up a bit, please, and just tell us your name and where you're calling from?
This is Naruko calling from Kisumu.
Yes, sir.
In fact, what I'm trying to tell you is that some of us know our rights, but it doesn't work.
Why? The rights don't work. What's happening?
For example, if a policeman comes to arrest you and you tell him will you produce your identity card? What a slap you will get. Oh my God.
Even that slap that he might give you, it's within your right to not be slapped.
Yes.
Well, what can you do then? With me, one day I was arrested.
What did you do?
To court and charged with a drunk and disorder, and I've never taken an alcohol.
You were not drunk and you were not disorderly. So in that position, you know what you were taken to court before a magistrate. You were presented before a magistrate.
And I was charged with 300 bob.
No, let me ask you, were you presented before a magistrate?
I was presented before a magistrate in court.
Did you tell the magistrate that you were insisting, for example, on a test to see if you were actually intoxicated and being disorderly? These are the rights that we're talking about.
I was afraid to go to remand, so I just produced 300 bob and I was released.
You see, that's the problem.
That right there. Because they know your fear and they took advantage of that.
So that's the case.
That's the case. Now imagine if you had insisted before the magistrate that no test was done. How do they know that you are drunk or disorderly? Maybe you are just a happy-go-lucky guy. And that there are even some people that I know that they look very happy and you can think that they are drunk. It's not the case.
Yes.
It's not the case. But beyond the joke, honestly, sir, that you paid that money because you were afraid, but there was nothing for you to be afraid of if truly you were not drunk and or disorderly.
In fact, I was afraid of time taken,
time wasted.
Time wasted.
Time wasted. So I just cough out 300 bob and then I was rested.
You were a free man.
Yeah.
Thank you for your call this morning, Asante Sana.
Thank you. Bye.
It's great that the call that has just buffered what was in the statement sentiment came out this morning, that fear is weaponized.
Yes.
They know you do not know. No. So they will hold that over you. Knowledge. A couple more calls, we'll take them. Yes, sir, you wanted to say something.
Another area where Kenyans find themselves not knowing what to do. You've moved into a house. You are in an agreement. When you leaving the house, do you know your right to getting your deposit back? Where?
Sasa wewe umeleta story hapa 5 minutes to 10 o'clock.
It actually says, right to the return of your deposit. If you leave the property in the agreed condition and have met your obligations, your landlord should refund your security deposit subject to any lawful deduction.
This story for painting and we will whatever.
If you paint it yourself, you return that house to how you found it.
Yes.
Inafaa kurudishia pesa yako.
That can be an entire hour.
Do you know when you pay your rent, you're supposed to be given receipt. That that even when you've delayed to pay rent, your landlord should not come and remove your roof, should not come
remove your door,
should not weld your door,
or
they should not remove your door. It is your right. Do you know these rights?
Where? We'll take the last call this morning. I reckon that there are a lot of people who've slept outside on a cold, rainy day because they didn't know that. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning to you, madam.
Good morning. Good morning.
I'm Onyango from Bondo.
Yes, Onyango from Bondo. Tell us, do you know your rights? Even 1, 2, 3.
No, I don't know most of my rights. But before we come to that, I want to congratulate you for the good work that you are doing together with the Standard newspaper.
Asante sana,
Chief.
Other than being educative, now let me tell you one thing which I want you to add in your gallery of lies about mystery.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Bondo, you have a road which goes up to
Lunda.
Yeah, in early 2023.
Yes.
When he came there,
who?
He promised us that in 6 months' time, that road will be completed.
Lunda.
Leunda.
Leunda.
Road, yeah. And it is now about 4 years, about 4 years, I think.
2022 to 2026 indeed is 4 years. 2023, it's almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
Almost 3 years now. Nothing has happened, not even contractor on the site.
Okay. But you have the stone.
The other one, stalled. The other one is the fire in Usenge.
Oh.
He came there about 2 times and he explained to people that he's going to build it in another 6 months' time. Today, it is only women who sell omena who use it.
Omena, you see?
It is only men who graze on that fire. Nothing has been done. In the same area, we have Goe Bridge.
Goe Bridge.
Goe Bridge.
Yes.
Now, up to now, the contractor came, stayed for a short time, and then packed up and left because there is no payment.
Okay.
But now, coming to my right,
yes, Onyango,
I believe that most of us do not know their rights, and what the policemen are doing around with people here is just to harass them and get some money from them, and that is corruption, which PLO Lumumba, man from my village, talked about in the morning today.
It did, in fact, from Usenge.
I was listening. I always listen to what people say there.
Asante sana, bro. You know what? It is important, and perhaps we're going to look at some of these and talk about the areas whereby you have rights that you most of the time don't know. And so it's very easy for somebody to then come and take advantage of you. If we can do anything, it is to empower people, to let them know that these are things that you can actually stand up anywhere to anybody and talk about the rights that you have.
Lastly.
Yes, Onyango.
Yesterday, I witnessed some type of opulence in Roma, in Bugori.
Hey.
There are MPs who never raised even 1,000 shillings are today raising 5 million per person.
Oh.
And the people investigate where this money is coming from. And I know for sure that is only to fight Linda Wananchi, not to help Wananchi.
Asante sana Onyango. Thank you for giving us that insight and that information.
Yeah, Migori.
Fantastic. Watu wa Migori. Kuna wengine hapa. Thank you very much, Onyango. We'll keep talking. Please keep listening. Let's continue sharing one another, and let's see how we can make things a little bit better for the people.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Asante.
Thank you so much. We didn't even have to address the president this morning because you know what? The people have said, let's understand this thing for ourselves first. And I think that's a fantastic place to be, where people are saying, let's understand this thing for ourselves first. Not one term, 2 term. For people to understand where we are. And that's how we end it in the Situation Room this Monday. And it's still Monday only, the 29th of June. Let's see what the week has in store. But thank you for being here in the Situation Room with us this morning.
And I think important, beyond the fear, understand your right.
Absolutely.
Because once you understand it, you will protect yourself.
Indeed. Thank you, everybody, keeping it on our socials this morning. Of course, being in the Situation Room, in the conversation with us. We'll do it again tomorrow, God willing. Yolanda Mulwa is up with Sugar and Spice at 11 o'clock. Before that, enjoy Sugar and Spice music. Enjoy the rest of your listening. Keep it Spice FM. We'll keep it through. We'll talk again tomorrow, God willing. Good morning. It's 10 a.m.
Yep.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the news. I'm Sheila Tembur. The government is restructuring its disaster financing system following floods in 2023 and 2024 that caused losses estimated at 187.82 billion shillings. The National Treasury's Disaster Risk Financing Strategy 2026 to 2030 proposes a shift from emergency relief and donor support to pre-arranged funding, including insurance, contingency funds, and other risk transfer tools. Treasury says recent disasters, including drought, floods, locust invasions, and the COVID-19 pandemic, have strained public finances and slowed economic growth. Treasury CS John Buddy says the new framework will strengthen disaster preparedness, response, and recovery at both national and county levels through predictable financing. The plan introduces a risk-layered approach